this evening with Ken Holbrook for swimming. How are you tonight?
I'm well. How are you?
I'm doing great. And I wanted to ask you, what was your reaction when you got notified about being inducted into the Reading High School Athletic Hall of Fame?
Well, this is actually the third Hall of Fame that I've been inducted into.
Oh, wow.
One was my high school in East Bridgewater, and the other was the Eastern Mass Swim Coaches Association. And it doesn't surprise me since I was the one that started both the boys and girls swim teams at Reading.
That's just something that's truly remarkable. And one of the things that's great on that is there something that stands out to you over your course of history with helping with both boys and girls swimming, that's just a lasting memory that you have?
Well, I think my biggest memory came in both the 2010-11 and 2012 boys swim seasons, since we won the league championship, and that was the only time we've ever won the league championship. So that was a big plus for me, and that was probably the biggest thrill of the career. And it's been 31 years, so that's the one that really stands out.
When you first started with the swim program and everything like that, can you tell me a little bit about what that was like? Because swimming was just up and coming when you first came here.
Well, I had been coaching at the North Suburban Y for a while, and I'd also coached at Meadowbrook. So I knew a lot of the swimmers. We were kind of a little cult group for a while, the whole swimming community. So I knew who they were when we first started out. And there were always more girls than there were boys, both at North Suburban Y and at Meadowbrook. But I think it all turned out pretty well. So we've done well, considering.
Just looking at, the career and the statistics and everything that's gone together with our swim program in here, can't do it without your great help that you helped to start with this great program. And I know for the Hall of Fame, we're beyond ecstatic that you're here tonight and you can get inducted into the Hall of Fame.
Thank you very much. I'm very glad to be here, too.
We are so glad to have you, and we hope you have a great rest of the night. And once again, congratulations from the Hall of Fame.
Thank you very much.
Thanks, Ken. Here was Stan Andre from the class of 2009. How you doing, Stan?
I'm feeling great, baby. Gotta love it.
We were just talking off camera, and it's crazy. It's been 15 years. Where does that time go?
Honestly, I wish I could tell you.
So I remember back when I was in high school, we got a chance to obviously see your team, the 2009, 2010 team, get into the Super Bowl with the big win at Gillette Stadium, everything. But before we dive into that, let's first, I want to say congratulations on being inducted into the Hall for both yourself and your team and everything. You're getting the double dose here tonight.
I know, you gotta love it.
So looking back on, your career here at Reading High School, is there anything that stood out the most to you for playing, at Reading High, whether it's with the coaches or just individual moments or anything like that?
Yeah, I mean, if I was to really think about it, dating back, we really kind of devoted our season to Coach Boyd. Stood on the 12-yard line every game. We wish we could, we wish we had him, I guess, during that period of the season, but we devoted to him, we locked in, and we got the job done. So I know up there he's looking down on us with a ton of smiles, but I would say that's probably the most surreal and most memorable moment, outside of winning the Super Bowl, of course, but I would say that.
I'm really happy you brought up Mike Boyd. In case some of our viewers don't know, tragically lost Mike, during the season and everything, and he was such an important coach and a part of your program and everything. I think the best way of describing it, just for me, from the outside, inspiration.
Yeah.
An inspiration that I think got you guys into believing in your team, believing in yourselves, and just showing that you could do this and be just an incredible team.
Yeah, no, he really, I would even date back to freshman year, right? Like, first time playing football for myself, first time trying out and playing quarterback, and, all the little tricks they used to give me, put an orange peel on your hand to kind of get your hand sticky a little bit. But, like I said, we devoted the season to him. We wanted to be good as a collective unit, and we went out and did the thing.
Did you guys know, I know going into your senior, you guys were great from the start when you were freshman, sophomore, and everything, but did you guys know that you had something special together, that you could pull something off that other teams may have not been able to pull off before?
Yeah, I would say growing up with these guys, like I was a Metco student and came in 6th grade and immediately hit it off with a bunch of my boys today. A bunch of the guys, we're still family.
Say still friends and everything.
Yeah, still
today?
friends, still family. Still doing international wedding trips and all this kind of stuff. So, I would say we always wanted to be great. We committed to the task at hand, and it's every high school team wants to do this. I was actually just in a wedding a couple weeks ago in Savannah. Saw a bunch of the Winchester guys and.
Okay. Little rivalry.
Yeah, and I'm like, you guys knew what was coming.
Yeah.
And I think they knew what was coming.
How humbling, though, right?
Incredibly. But at the same time, we never got cocky. We were always confident. We believed in each other, and we just got it done.
As one of their biggest fans, I was broadcasting the games and everything from that. But you guys made it special. You could see it and you could believe it.
Yeah.
You could know that this was a special team that really could put it over the top and be memorable. And you guys pulled it off. I mean, that's something that you'll remember forever. And it's just so cool to come now back 15 years and say, wow, we did this.
Yeah.
We did this. So after high school, you went to UMass Amherst. What was that like?
It was a great experience. Obviously fun, played on the football team. I would say from a success standpoint, we probably didn't have we couldn't mirror the same success that we had in high school, but it's a different level of ball, different level of competition, and that's just kind of how football is overall. But I still hang out with a lot of those guys. Actually, one of my buddies is here from college.
Get out. Awesome.
Yeah, so he came down. But yeah, I still link up with a lot of those guys. Actually, just chatted with one of my former teammates this morning, and it was a great experience.
Well, for the Hall of Fame, we're beyond ecstatic that you're here tonight to be able to honor not just the team, but yourself as well going into the Hall of Fame. Stan, great to see you.
Absolutely.
And congratulations
Thanks
again.
for having me.
Absolutely.
Appreciate you. Go Rockets.
Go Rockets. I'm here with Catherine Murphy from the class of 1994. How are you tonight?
Great, thank you.
What was it like when you first got that call, that first message that said you were being inducted into the Hall of Fame?
Quite a surprise, and the first person I thought to call right after that was my dad, who happened to be out for coffee with his retired group of guys from National Grid, all of whom had to hear about my sporting career all throughout their days, so it worked out very well how things fell together, but quite an honor, especially kind of so far gone from it. It was just nice to be able to, it's been a nice opportunity to look back and just think about great times both there and what it led to after.
Crazy, 30 years.
Yeah,
30
and
years
actually it's our 30-year reunion.
So you're getting it all in the past
Yeah.
week and everything. That's so
Perfect.
cool. For our audience who may not get a chance to know who you are and everything, what was your big sport that you played at Reading High School?
So probably my biggest was softball, but I also did field hockey and track. I went on to play in college, played softball. Definitely found my love for field hockey in Reading, so it was definitely was very thoughtful about which one I wanted to play beyond, but it ended up being softball, which I had played since way back, like youth sports in Reading.
So you knew at a young age softball was kind of your sport that you wanted to really focus on and play and everything like that.
I think so. It was, it wasn't introduced as young as it is now in terms of field hockey. So I don't think I really even thought about it. Like I was a late starter, and I only started playing in high school. So it's something I might have given more thought to if that was the case. But softball had been a part of my life absolutely since I was young. So it just seemed like a natural progression.
Absolutely.
That I could keep playing.
So when you look back at your high school and everything, I know there's so many, but is there maybe one moment that really stood out to you in your career that you're going to always remember, or something that's just like, wow, if I was a part of this team or a coach or something that really made a difference to you too?
Absolutely. I played under Mim Jarima, one of the Hall of Fame coaches here, so just learning from her and being under her for so many years. She actually was a youth coach of mine too. So
you knew her at a very younger age.
Yep. Yeah, for softball. So our kind of trip to the MIAA with the 1992 Hall of Fame team as well, that was just an amazing group of female athletes that just are really second to none. I know there are other teams that have come since, but I just looked up to, as a sophomore, the juniors and seniors who were so strong and led the team. So that was probably.
I feel like you need that great leadership as an underclassman to kind of understand what it's like to be a player and a part of a team and everything. And I think Reading really does do that with their coaching and everybody that puts the programs together so well.
Absolutely, and I think Mim just cared so intensely about the sport itself and then developing players. And I'd say she had a knack for developing players who didn't even realize that how special they were as athletes. So we're very lucky to see that as well.
Well, from the Hall of Fame, we're beyond ecstatic you can be here tonight for 30 years, getting it all together in one and everything. And we hope you have a great rest of your night, and congratulations once again.
Thank you for putting this together.
You're
You guys
very
do a great
welcome.
job.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Have a good night. Here with Chris Robichaud. How are you tonight, Chris?
I'm doing great, thank you.
What was it like when you got that call about going into the RMHS Athletic Hall of Fame?
It was a surprise. I didn't know it was in the works. I didn't know my stuff had been submitted. So John O'Keefe, who was actually my Little League coach, called me, and he had called my dad and said they needed a couple of bits of information because I was a finalist. Then when he sprung it on me, he said, "Hey, you got inducted," and caught me way off guard, but it was really pleasant surprise.
That's so great that John was the one that gave you the notification and let you know that you were coming into everything here for the high school. One of the things I wanted to ask you was, is there something that stands out to you in your storied career here at Reading High School that was like a lasting memory that you had?
Yeah, I mean, winning a state championship for wrestling was kind of the lasting memory, I'd say. I mean, I started off my freshman year, I won one match, and I just worked and worked and worked and worked with a goal of eventually being a state champ. At the time, we hadn't had a state champ in 19 years, and my goal was to kind of end that streak. And I was lucky enough to do that, and ended up like setting the win record for a single season. And just had a great senior year, and went on to wrestle at prep school and then in college for 4 years. So,
what was it like to be coached by Tom Darren? What a legend, right?
Absolute legend, absolute legend. He's a great guy. More than just how he developed me as a wrestler was, he helped turn me into a man. Showed me how hard work equated to success, and that, to me, that's his legacy. More than just being a coach, he was just a great mentor for me to develop into the person I am today.
Wonderful. Well, Chris, we're so glad that you were here tonight for the Hall of Fame. We're honored to have you, and again, congratulations.
Thanks.
I'm here with Justine Lyons from the class of 2005. How are you tonight?
Doing well. How are you doing?
I'm doing great. When you got notified that you were going into the Hall of Fame, what was like the emotion that went through?
So excited. Just so excited to represent Reading, to be inducted with all these tremendous athletes. Just total honor.
If you look back with your high school career, what is something that stood out to you the most? Do you have a lasting memory, or maybe a great maybe game of some sorts that came together? Is there anything that stands out to you from thinking back?
I would say, obviously, my teammates. Teammates are the best parts of sports, and probably losing to Melrose over
Still a little raw?
Still raw, but they were great fights.
They are.
So those were probably my favorite memories.
Last question I had for you. What was it like playing for the legendary Kim Penny?
I mean, she's a legend. She's still in my life today. She is the best.
She's
Still
a
my
wonderful,
idol.
wonderful person.
Yeah, just truly adore her.
We are so fortunate enough that you are here to get the honor for going into the Hall of Fame, and I hope you have a great rest of your night.
Thank you.
I am here with the legendary Erica Belcher from the class of 2011. How are you tonight?
I'm so good. How are you?
I'm doing great. It's great to see you. What was it like? What went through your mind when you got called or texted or emailed about going into the Reading High School Athletic Hall of Fame?
It was so exciting. It got to me through my Uncle Jack somehow, through my brothers, all a long train. And it was, I look back on those years so fondly, and so I was thrilled to get the call, of course.
When you look back It's crazy. It's been so long right now. I was just with Stan Andre. I'm like, 2009 was 15 years ago. It's crazy. But is there something that stood out to you, maybe individually or maybe with the team or whatnot, for when you were swimming and when you were part of the team? Is there something that stood out the most to you at Reading High School?
Yeah, of course. I think I was swimming club since I was like 6 or 7, and so coming into high school, swimming on a high school team is so much different than a club team. It's like way more about the team and the team camaraderie, and so I was so excited about that. And to cap it off, my senior year with a state championship win was just incredible, and like exactly how I could have like painted the picture to finish. So coming in, kind of like taking a step back a little bit from the club swimming and doing the team swimming, team sport for a little while was so fun, and the state championship is definitely number 1 in my book.
When you were younger, when you were a kid, did you know you wanted to be a swimmer? Did you know you were a fish?
That's such a good question.
Or a dolphin, or whatever you want to call it.
That's a good question. I actually did dance and softball until I was like 12, I think. I did it as long as I could before my club coach was like, you can't do all of this. You have to, it's just this or nothing, and that's what I did. So then that's when I knew I was a fish.
What's life presented after Reading High School? What's going on in Erica Belcher's life?
Yeah, so I coached at NYU swimming, thank you, for like 6 or 7 years through the end of the pandemic, and then I shifted over. I work at an investment bank now. I live in New York City with my fiance. Thank you. So yeah, no more swimming so much, but watching.
You get to enjoy it though a little bit?
Oh yeah, watching for sure.
Well, from the Hall of Fame, we're beyond happy that you're here to get your special honor and everything for not just yourself, the team and everything going in for swimming as well, too. We're so happy you're here, and congratulations, and have a great rest of the night.
Thank you so much.
You're welcome. I am here with Sue Madden from the class of 2003. Sue, how are you tonight?
I'm great. How are you, Nick?
I'm doing great. When you got notified that you were going into the Hall of Fame, what went through your mind?
Oh, I was so excited. My mom and Coach Fight have been for track team before, and I'm just really, really pleased and happy that I finally got that call. I've been waiting.
Well, we're so thrilled when we go back and we do the statistics and we look through the info and the notes and everything like that. We're like, you know what? We got to put Sue in because the accolades and everything that you put up from truly is remarkable.
Thank you.
So we're so thrilled that you're here tonight. One of the things that I always ask people when we do the interviews, is there something that stands out to you for back at Reading High School, like a lasting memory that you go back and you think about and you're like, wow, that happened?
I think, honestly, it was my freshman year. I got to be on the team with my 2 sisters and my mom coaching us. And
that's an amazing,
it really
doesn't
was.
happen that often.
No, and we all got to do it for spring track, and that was the only season we got to do that for, and it was really, really special.
That's fantastic. You know, you don't hear stories like that a lot, where your mom being the coach and then your sisters and everything participating, everything. How special.
Yeah, it is. I feel really blessed that we got that.
And then you had your mom and you had another legend, Ken Fight. Can you tell me a little bit of just about their impact that they've had on you?
Yeah, so I grew up on the track. My mom's been the assistant coach since before I was born, so I know Ken my entire life as well. So besides just on the track, in my life in general, they've had huge, huge impacts. And, I'm fortunate enough that they're both here today and have been part of pretty much every major milestone of my life.
That's so awesome. Well, from the Hall of Fame, we are so glad that you are here tonight to get your recognition and get your award and everything, and we hope you have a great rest of your night.
Thank you.
2008. It's really cool to say that, and I am here with the legendary Rob Tozlowski.
Overstated, but
Rob, how are you? It's so good to actually Toz, we should say. That's the nickname and everything. I'm thrilled for you. This is something that for anybody that was in the class of 2008, we know how cool this was and everything. But Super 8, we all know about that. But first and foremost, I want to ask, number one, how are you?
Good, fantastic. It's great to be back. I mean, haven't really left. I've been coaching a lot with Reading, so it's still staying local. So,
excellent.
But I've been great. Can't argue.
Excellent. When you got notified about going into the Hall of Fame, what went through the mind? What was that when you if you got emailed or texted and like?
No, I received a phone call from Mr. Halsey, and that was kind of surreal just knowing because of the connection with all the baseball team and what he did, and then a lot of emotions. To obviously wanted to call my parents right away, and sure enough, I just thought about all of the teammates I've had and all the memories I had around Reading. So yeah, and then sure enough, we're a year later, and here we are. It's a long journey, but we're here.
And to go back and look at it now from kind of like far, it's been 16 years since the whole Super 8 from everything. First public high school to win a Super 8. What was that like? Give me like a brief synopsis on that.
In the moment, I was focused on just the game, but looking back, it was historic. Now I see a lot of public teams do it, so maybe a little bit diminished, but at the same time, when I think about all those guys, it was just such a big moment for everybody there. And, we just before this talked about getting off the bus and how that was just a whirlwind of emotions and just having it at the Garden. It was just, I don't know, it's still speechless 16 years later.
I remember coming back, that police escort, coming to the rink and everything from that. We were handing the microphone off from everything. Coach Peter Doherty's getting his pizza. He was more concerned about that, of course, not the trophy.
I'd have to say,
but you're probably starving after that. But I think probably looking at it, if you look, just how much of a dynamic team you guys had, top to bottom. You had yourself, Mike, and of course Pat. That was the anchor of the first line. But the defense was outstanding. We have to mention Jeff Wire. We have to mention him.
I mean, you can go down that whole team, and somebody on that team played a part. Jeff Wire was a fantastic goalie. You had Garrett, Quinn, Travis, all playing a huge part in that defensive role. John Michael Leach, Sean McGoldrick, Bill Cataldo, John Kane. I can rattle them all off. I'm just going through. I mean, Ryan Arsenal, Devin Albert. I can really do.
You remember everybody. Everybody contributed. Yeah. Even from a fan standpoint, you could tell everybody was involved with making that championship happen.
Yeah, for sure. And the support that we had from this town, this is what makes tonight very special, is that now I can appreciate them, the town, my parents, the support cast that was there. It really just brings me back.
I'm so happy that you're here to get this award and everything like that. And from the Hall of Fame, we're so excited, and congratulations again.
Thank you. I appreciate it. Thank you.
Good to see you. I am here with the 3 captains of the 2010 swim team. How does that sound? Isn't that pretty cool? I want to hand the mic down, make sure everybody introduces themselves.
I'm Jillian Walsh.
Erica Belcher.
Julie Trodden.
When you got notified about going into the Hall of Fame, we'll start with you. What went through your mind? What were you thinking?
I was probably most excited to be able to reconnect with the girls. We had a very special high school experience and a really tight team environment. And so it was just, I knew that the team was going to show up, and we have a huge group here with us tonight. And it was just, that was what I was most excited about.
She took the words right out of my mouth. Same thing. I think that year was so special, so getting to see everybody again is so exciting, of course.
I can agree with the both of them. And they said the same thing I was going to.
What made it so special, though? I mean, all of you were talented and everything like that, but is there something that maybe put it over the hump to get you over to be champions?
I would say that we were very fortunate to have a group that just really clicked. We got better every single year. We won North Sectionals as sophomores, and then we were able to finish out on top with the state championship as seniors, which was great.
Same for Erica. What stood out probably from your team? How did it? I just want to make sure my audio picks up from everything. How did this team really believe in getting to be a champion?
I think, like Jill said, winning the sectional our sophomore year, I feel like we knew it was possible to do that our senior year. And so I think the 3 of us had that vision, and we were going to make it happen either way.
Same for you, Jillian.
I mean, I'd say winning states was definitely one of the major accomplishments, I think, and that kind of brought us together.
On behalf of the Hall of Fame, we're so excited that your team gets to come in tonight to the Athletic Hall of Fame, and we hope you all have a great rest of your night, too.
Thank you.
Thank you.
The 2009 football team, we have our 4 captains here. I want to introduce each of them. I know we've already met Stan, but we're going to pass the mic down, have them introduce themselves, and we'll just talk a little bit about history.
Stanley Andre, baby.
Ryan Pollock.
Tino Perina.
James Collins.
Maybe it's a simple question, maybe it's not. But what was it like to get notified about going into the Hall of Fame for your team? It was.
Oh, yeah. I mean, we kind of addressed this before, but it was pretty surreal. We all locked in over the course of the season, and I don't think we were thinking about this. While we were playing, we were just more so focused on, winning the championship, and we did that. And I guess when you do the right things, good things fall into place.
That's a good way of saying it.
Yeah, we were super excited. It was a great season. Everyone kind of was on a mission that year, and we were just happy to get it accomplished. And 10, 15 years later, it's nice to look back and enjoy it.
It's crazy. It's 15 years, guys, right? Not nuts? It's ridiculous. Tino, how about for you?
I'm balding, so 15 years later, you come to a place like this and bald. No, but back then, I think we had a lot of fun. That was the biggest thing. I think we started a movement too. I think culture is so big in high school sports, especially like young kids. And I think we started a movement and a culture at Reading football that was kind of lost in the early 2000s. It was created in the 90s, and I think we brought it back. And then even after we left, it stayed around a little bit. So I think that's probably our proudest thing that we accomplished, was starting a little bit of a movement that lasted even years after we left.
For James.
Yeah, and so, when I heard, it just brought back all the memories of that year, being with all the guys, all the great wins, driving back in the snow, getting the police escort down Main Street in Reading, which was pretty awesome. And so I've already seen a bunch of guys that I haven't seen in close to maybe 15 years now, and some of them have kids, wives, all that. And so, it puts a nice bow on everything we did that year.
When I was talking with Stan during his interview he did with me earlier, we talked about Mike Boyd.
Yeah.
What did that mean to, number one, have that inspiration to kind of set the tone for the season? What was that like?
Yeah.
How much did it mean to you?
Oh, my God, so much. I mean, from the funeral on and, devoting the season to him. And like I said, standing on that 12-yard line we didn't just do it to do it.
Sure.
There was significance to it. And like I said, he's looking down on us with a smile. And
Oh, he's here tonight.
Yeah, we wish he was here in person tonight. I know he's watching, but it was a special year, and a special 4 years. It was special to have him for 3 of them. He really guided us that whole first 3 years with his toughness and his grit, and it was something we all kind of adapted that mentality. And it's sad that he wasn't there physically for that last year, but I know that he was up there watching.
And at the time, a lot of us, not many of us had that much. Seen death at that young of an age, I guess, like someone that close to you. Some people, right? But for me specifically, that was like my first death of someone I was really close with, that it really impacted me. So in terms of what it did culturally with us and what it did spiritually moving forward was pretty impactful. So, it was like a bow when we actually won the Super Bowl and hung his jersey. So really special thing.
And, he really showed us what it meant to be a part of the Reading football family.
And then the coolest thing from it all was having that jersey hung in Patriots Hall. Oh. What a lasting cap for that whole special season for everything. Congratulations, guys. Can't believe it's 15 years going into the Hall of Fame. You're going to be Hall of Famers. Have a great rest of the night, guys. Appreciate you having you. Thanks again. That concludes our interviews for tonight's inductees for the Hall of Fame. I now want to send it over to Pete Moscarello, our Master of Ceremonies. Pete?
So I just want to kick this off on behalf of the Reading Athletic Hall of Fame. Welcome to the inductees, family, and friends. We almost sold it out this year. Tremendous response, a lot of enthusiasm and cooperation. I appreciate everybody. Tonight we induct our 15th Hall of Fame class. It can now officially be considered the best of the best in the history of RMHS athletics over the last 100+ years. Reading has arguably the best public school athletic program in the state over the past 30 to 40 years. I think that's been pretty much your range, Kyle, so thank you. And in order to be inducted into this Hall of Fame, you are not in the top 10%, but the top 100, the top 1% of athletes, teams, and coaches who have participated in RMHS athletics. So, a little bit about the organization. We are a 501c3 nonprofit that receives no funding from the town or the school. So I would like to thank all the sponsors and donors that contributed to tonight's event, which are all listed in the program, so please take a look. But in particular, our principal sponsors tonight are Eastern Bank, which has been doing it for many years, and the new one this year is Induction Automation. So thank you for our principal sponsors and all our donors. Something else, which we thought was a good idea to have that raffle tonight, but it's too hectic. People aren't buying raffle tickets. So if you bought a raffle ticket, you're still in the raffle, but you can still buy it at table 25 too, before the end of the night. But I think that raffle is going to go to the Empower and Haven store next week. So we can sell additional tickets, because they're great tickets. They're December 30th against the Pacers, 20 rows over the visitors' bench. So see my niece Emily at table 25 if you haven't already bought your raffle tickets. Also, I want to shout out to Pete Moscarello, a member of our Hall of Fame, is our MC once again tonight. Pete is the reason I've slept soundly at night over the past few months, knowing the program is in his capable hands. I think most of you know him and have heard him speak, and he really adds a lot to the event. His sincerity, humor, and personal touch he brings to the ceremony enhances the experience for all in attendance. Thank you, Pete. We are forever grateful to you. I would also like to recognize the Hall of Fame committee, who never fail to put on a first-class event every 2 years, and you will see inside the program some of the areas they contribute to. Not many Hall of Fames at any level produce video tributes as part of the ceremony. So I want to thank our script writers, also listed in the program, and our video production team, also listed in the program, for their superb work. I've seen all the videos, and the inspiration of these accomplished inductees never fails to bring a tear to my eye. Thank you. I would like to, one other thing that's not on the script tonight that kind of surprised me, but my daughter arrived as a tribute to my dad. She wore his high school varsity sweater. So Krista, can you, this is New Bedford High School, 1948. This is the first year my dad hasn't been around for the ceremony, and as you see in the program, he was past president for many years. So that's all I'm going to say. Enjoy your meals and your dessert, and then Pete's going to come out around 7 p.m. for a very long ceremony. Thank you.
Well, good evening, everybody. How's everyone doing tonight? Good, that's great. First, I want to thank Jeff Pierce for that very nice introduction. I hope I can live up to that billing. So tonight's going to be a terrific night because our Hall of Fame committee has put together a fabulous program where you will all get to meet some of Reading Memorial High School's all-time greatest athletes, coaches, and teams. I'd like to thank the Hall of Fame committee for the honor of being your master ceremonies again this year. But I did have to ask the committee why they wanted me to continue as MC, you know, at my age. And they said one reason. We're inducting Ken Holbrook tonight, and we didn't want Ken to be the only person in the room who knows who the Beatles were. See, they were a band in the 60s. You have to be old and all that. Anyway, I would, so proud to be your MC, and as I said, we have a full agenda. So sit back, relax. I think it's going to be fun because it's such a special event because it bonds RMHS athletics with the entire Reading community and does so across decades and generations. I think very few towns, if any, have the athletic legacy and the school community connection that we enjoy in our town. So tonight, we honor 8 exceptional student athletes, 1 trailblazing coach, and 2 incredible teams. To give you an idea of how extraordinary this class of inductees is, consider that they excelled in 11 different sports, earned 9 all-scholastic recognitions, were named Middlesex League All-Stars a staggering 25 times, and won multiple individual state championships. Tonight's lineup includes the state champion girls swim team, undefeated Super Bowl champion football team, individual athletes who starred in multiple sports, others who set school records, many who excelled at the collegiate level, and a dedicated lifelong coach. Now, the way the ceremony works is I will introduce briefly each individual and athlete, and then we'll watch a marvelous video that depicts the player or the team's career and accomplishments. Then we invite each new Hall of Famer to the stage for an acceptance speech. Now, each individual honoree will receive a beautiful framed award and a commemorative Hall of Fame coin shown here by our superb athletic director, Tom Zeta. Now for the team, each team gets 2 framed awards, but guess what? Every member of that team gets the commemorative Hall of Fame coin. That's right. Now all videos from this ceremony will be available for viewing on YouTube beginning next week. You can search for Scott Losinger, RMHS, or Jeff Pierce, RMHS, to view the videos from this induction ceremony and past induction ceremonies. And finally, a plaque for each individual and team has been permanently installed on the Wall of Fame at the Walter E. Hawks Fieldhouse for current and future generations to enjoy. How's that all sound? All right, so now it's time to introduce Reading Memorial High School's Athletic Hall of Fame class of 2024. That's a good crowd, it's a good crowd. We are inducting one coach this year, and we couldn't have chosen a more deserving person for what he has done for his sport, his community, and his country. Ken Holbrook was a Hall of Fame student athlete at Bridgewater High School, a Boston University graduate, a lieutenant colonel and decorated pilot in the U.S. Air Force, a pilot for Pan Am, swim team coach at Randolph High School and Framingham North High School, and he did all of that before becoming head coach of the boys swim team at RMHS in 1992. From there, Ken built his Hall of Fame resume in Reading over the next 30-plus years.
For more than 30 years, Ken Holbrook served as the RMHS boys swim coach. But his contributions to Reading athletics run far deeper. Holbrook was the first person to advocate for the inclusion of swimming in the Reading High School athletic program. Although his initial attempt in 1984 was unsuccessful, he didn't quit. He and a small group from the Reading swim community took up the challenge a second time, and in 1988 were successful in launching the girls program, followed by the boys team a year later. Holbrook also served on the pool committee, which spent 3 years working to create what is now known as the Burbank YMCA pool. Sparked by watching his daughter compete in the fledgling sport, Holbrook's swim coaching career began in 1981 as an assistant and meet official at the North Suburban YMCA in Woburn. There, he officiated every meet for 10 years and served as president of the Y Swim Parents Association. Holbrook landed his first high school coaching job at Randolph High in 1990. From 1990 to 1991, he branched out to coach the Framingham North boys swim team and made an immediate impact as his team finished 3rd in the Bay State Conference and 7th at the North Sectionals. When the opportunity arose to coach in the town where he once lived and later started the program, Holbrook leapt at the opportunity. He began coaching the RMHS boys swim team in 1992, while simultaneously serving as head coach of the Framingham girls swim team for 10 years. There he earned Metro News Coach of the Year in 1994. Over his 30-plus years at Reading, the 2-time Middlesex League Coach of the Year achieved a record of 169 wins, 133 losses, and 3 ties, with 2 Middlesex League dual meet championships and 3 Middlesex League championship meet wins. And at one point, his team recorded 27 straight dual meet wins. Holbrook coached a state Division I champion swimmer, a Boston Globe All-Scholastic relay team, and 6 North Sectional champions. His teams finished as high as 3rd at the North Sectionals and 5th at the state Division I championships. All 11 of the current Middlesex League individual or relay event records are held by swimmers that Holbrook coached. Holbrook served as a high school official for over 28 years, as a member of the Eastern Mass Swim Officials Association. As a coach, he's a member of the National Interscholastic Swim Coaches Association, the American Swim Coaches Association, and the National Federation of High School Coaches. When asked about his favorite high school coaching memory, Holbrook recalled the 2012 Middlesex League Championship. "We tied Lexington the year before, but were able to beat them in 2012. That was the first time we won an outright championship, he said. Amongst the star swimmers in the Holbrook era are RMHS class of 1997's Matt Carroll, the first swimmer, either male or female, inducted into the RMHS Athletic Hall of Fame. When Matt graduated, he held 5 individual and 3 relay school records. The 4-time league MVP only lost 3 league races in his 4 years and was unbeaten after his sophomore season. The 2012 league championship team featured Connor Daly, a North Sectional individual champion in the 100-meter butterfly, who currently holds 2 individual and 1 relay school record. In 2018, the Spear brothers, Kevin and Scott, set 8 current school records between them, with Kevin setting 4 individual and 2 relay records, and Scott 2 individual and 2 relay records. Kevin was a state champion in the 200-meter freestyle while setting the state meet record, and was also named an All-American. Holbrook's positive coaching memories were by no means limited to winning, however. The most rewarding aspect was the opportunity to have a positive influence on teens. 31 years working with teenage boys probably made me crazier than I should have been, but it was so much fun, he said. My hope was to have a positive, healthy impact on them. Being told you're an influence makes you feel useful and like you're doing something good in life. Impacting children outside of your own was fulfilling too. No stranger to awards, Holbrook received the Priscilla Davis Silver Service Award in 2017 from the Massachusetts Coaches Association for service to the sport. In 2022, he was selected to the Interscholastic Swim Coaches Association Hall of Fame, given for continuous excellence in coaching high school swimming. Although Holbrook jokingly called himself a lousy swimmer, he excelled in many other sports growing up. He was a standout athlete in football, basketball, and track, earning 9 varsity letters at East Bridgewater High School, and was eventually inducted into their Athletic Hall of Fame in 2023. After graduating from Boston University in 1959, he joined the Air Force, trained as a pilot, and flew strategic refueling aircraft during the Cold War and the Vietnam War, earning the Air Medal and other awards. Following 8 years of active duty, he transitioned to a civilian career as a Pan Am pilot, and later worked in sales and customer service. In 1979, around the time he began his swim coaching career, he retired from the Air Force Reserve as a lieutenant colonel after 22 years of service. Holbrook's legacy of positive thinking and the power of believing in yourself will be remembered by RMHS swimming for years to come. A message he always told his team was, always believe you can do more than you think you can. Success comes in cans. It is our great pleasure to induct Coach Ken Holbrook into the Reading Memorial High School Athletic Hall of Fame, Class of 2024.
Unfortunately, I don't leap buildings at a single bound anymore. What happens when you get neuropathy in both feet? Anyway, I want to thank the Reading people for electing me to this position. It's been a long time. I started the teams because I thought that Reading needed swim teams, and fortunately both of them I think have done very well over the years. So it's been a propitious beginning. So all I can say is thank you, and I thank you all for coming. And this is a big honor for me. This is the 3rd Hall of Fame that I'm in. So, and I'm sure it's the last one too. Now that I'm going north to die. Anyway. I don't know if you know about the guy that walked out of his front door one morning and walked out, he almost stepped on this snail, so I picked the snail up and he threw it over in his garden. You know, you all got these little garden beds in front of your house. So a year goes by, and he walks out, he hears this knock at the door. And he goes out to look and he can't see anything. Then he looks down and there's the snail And the snail says to him, what the hell was that all about? With that note, I'll leave you. Thank you very much.
So Ken, you said your hope was to have a positive, healthy impact on the student athletes and hope that you did something good in life. I think we can all agree that you accomplished that. So thank you for your service to your school, community, and country, and congratulations. The decade of the 1990s was truly a golden era for RMHS sports with dozens of outstanding teams and noteworthy athletes. Right at the top of that list was Catherine Murphy. Catherine was a superb performer in field hockey, track, and softball. She earned an astounding 11 varsity letters, was named Middlesex League All-Star an incredible 7 times. Catherine not only compiled an extraordinary list of individual achievements, she was also a team player, leader, and winner, whose collective teams won 85% of the contests in 7 Middlesex League titles.
At the time of her graduation in 1994, Catherine Murphy had established herself near the top of the list of most gifted and accomplished 3-sport female athletes in RMHS history. And 30 years later, that distinction has held the test of time. In 11 seasons of participating in a sport at RMHS, she compiled a varsity letter in each season, while being named a Middlesex League All-Star 7 times and being elected captain in 3 different sports. As a center backer for the field hockey team, Catherine made her mark as a 4-year starter in RMHS Hall of Fame coach Mim Jarima's Powerhouse program. The 2-time Middlesex All-Star was also the centerpiece of one of the biggest goals in school field hockey history. Catherine was named Team MVP as a junior for the Hall of Fame 1992 team and scored the goal heard round the North Shore. The 1992 Rockets were Middlesex League co-champs.
Catherine Murphy with it.
And rolled through the league with a 17-1 record while outscoring the opposition 73-3.
The Rockettes have defeated Watertown 1-0.
After winning their first 2 tournament games, they met up with Danvers in the North Sectional Final. Danvers was defending sectional champ and had Reading's number in the last 3 North Finals in which they met. The streak was broken when Murphy unleashed a 100-foot rocket from her defensive position for the game's only goal. Murphy expected a possible tip-in from a teammate, but the shot went right to the back of the cage in an unlikely goal that Coach Jarima noted was from 3-point range. The local Danvers paper noted, quote, "It was literally Murphy's Law, Catherine Murphy that is, that ruled the outcome of the Division I North Sectional Field Hockey Final." The dream season ended with a tough 1-0 loss in the Division I state semifinal. Catherine received all league honors at season's end and was named as a field hockey participant for that summer's Bay State Games. In her senior season, Murphy was named co-captain and had another stellar season, leading the Rockets to a 13-1-4 season. For postseason honors, along with her all-league recognition, she was named the Outstanding Field Hockey Player by the Daily Times Chronicle. For her 4-year career as a starter, her teams had a record of 64, 12, and 8. In the winter season, Catherine was a versatile track performer in distances from 300 to 1,000. She was used in spots wherever it best suited the team in individual and relay events. As a sophomore, her most impressive race was at the Red Auerbach State Invitational for freshmen and sophomores, where she took a 4th place in the 600. While her team took their first ML title in 7 years, Murphy was named All-League in the 600. Her junior season highlights included being part of the first-place mile relay team at the state Class B relays, and another All-League designation in the 1,000. After being elected captain for her senior season, she decided to sit out the track season to focus on her softball training after accepting a scholarship to play at the University of Maine. As strong an athlete as Catherine was in her other two sports, she took her performance to another level on the softball diamond. She was the lone freshman on the varsity for the eventual Middlesex League co-champs. It was noted in the preseason article that Murphy's skill level was evident in the preseason workouts and that she could play every position except pitcher. During that season, she was utilized as a starter in both the outfield and infield, and when not starting, she was coming off the bench as a pinch hitter. In Murphy's sophomore season, her days as a platoon player were over, as she began her 3-year reign as the starting shortstop and middle-of-the-order batter for Rocket softball. That season, she helped lead the co-Middlesex League champs to the semifinals of the North Sectional Tournament, while being named to the Middlesex League All-Star team. Along the way, she had one of the best offensive seasons in RMHS history. She batted .525, which is the 4th highest single-season recorded batting average in RMHS softball history, and also set a single-season school record of 10 doubles, which still stands today, while driving in 26 runs. Another all-league season followed as a junior, where the rangy shortstop batted .439 with 23 runs batted in and 6 doubles in an undefeated 20-0 regular season for the Middlesex League champs. In Murphy's final season in her illustrious RMHS athletic career, the co-captain helped lead her team to a 19-1 regular season and another Middlesex League crown.
And Murphy drills it to left center field.
The only blemish in the team's regular season record was a loss to non-league foe Amesbury, where Murphy's 2-run home run, after returning from an earlier game rib injury, put the Rockets ahead briefly in the 6th inning. The loss ended a 48-game Rocket regular season winning streak over a 3-year period. A 1-0 loss to Wilmington in the North semifinals put to end an outstanding softball career for Murphy, which included being part of 4 Middlesex League team championships, while garnering 3 all-league selections, batting over .400 for her career, and being named to the All-State Division II All-Star team as a senior. Even more impressive was her career softball team record of 77 wins and 10 losses. In her 2 main team sports, Catherine only tasted defeat on a rare occasion, compiling an overall record of 141 wins, 22 losses, and 8 ties, winning 85% of the games she participated in. After high school, she starred in softball at the University of Maine, where she did not miss a game in 4 years and was co-captain in both her junior and senior years, playing center field for the Black Bears. It is with great pride that we welcome Catherine Murphy into the Reading Memorial High School Athletic Hall of Fame class of 2024.
Thank you to the Hall of Fame committee for their consideration. Just special thanks to Jeff Pierce, who just did all of that on my behalf, so thank you. So after being part of this process, I am completely blown away at what they put into tonight and the Hall of Fame as a whole, so thank you for that. It's such a success, so thank you. It's so fitting that this event happens around Thanksgiving, so when I was thinking about what I might want to say tonight, I just kept coming back to the word grateful. So keeping that in mind, I'm just going to share a few things that I'm grateful for tonight. So first, I am grateful for growing up in Reading and being coached in youth leagues by amazing volunteer parents and sharing the fields with friends and athletes. I've had the privilege of being coached by 2 Hall of Fame coaches, one of whom's here tonight. So Miss Jarima, one of the, is a Hall of Fame member. She couldn't be here tonight, she was invited. She originally coached me on the Panthers softball team back in middle school, but later went on to have an amazing run with field hockey. including our 1992 field hockey team. And also a huge thank you to Coach Fite, also a Hall of Fame coach who is here tonight, and teacher who I was lucky enough to learn from, and I'm so appreciative of his quiet demeanor and leadership, and I look back on that with so much respect. The 1993 field hockey team and 1992 field hockey teams were filled with some of the strongest athletes that I've ever had the pleasure of playing with. Tracy Cook Lafferty, Megan Kennedy, Michelle Differ, Patty Jarima, Kerry Reardon, Jackie and Lauren Perella, Jill Fiore and Andrea Parsons, and many others, Patricia Hearn. I am lucky to call one of my former RMHS teammates my sister-in-law. Tracy actually scored 11 goals and 6 assists in our 1992 season and went on to kick my butt in a very competitive powder puff game that year, so as well. And many of the names I mentioned for field hockey also played on strong RMHS softball teams, including Jackie Perella and Lauren Murphy, who are at my table tonight. Through life's highs and lows, we still get to smile together, so I'm very lucky to still call them friends. Tonight is actually our 30th reunion, so I'm humbled they insisted on coming here first before they headed off to the reunion, so thank you for that. Strong athletes are strong because they're surrounded by selfless teammates who play hard and make those around them better for it. And between field hockey, track, and softball, that was definitely my experience here at Reading High School. I'm also grateful for my brothers who are here tonight. Paul and Bill Murphy were amazing athletes in their own right at Reading High in football and winter and spring track. I grew up under the bleachers at Reading High and actually the Lexington track bubble. I don't know what they call it now, but that's what it was back in the day. And I grew up cheering for them, watching their intensity and athleticism. And it's actually my brother Paul's birthday today, and my brother Bill's tomorrow, and they're here tonight for me, which says a lot about them. And just, my parents, Paul and Elaine, I never knew anything other than having their support while I was on the field and behind the scenes. So during my years at RMHS and at UMaine, they traveled the entire East Coast to support me. My mom, who passed away a few years ago, is the reason that whole video happened, is because she saved every bit of newspaper clippings and all of that. We probably gave her a hard time for it at the time, but she did. She saved all of that. So I feel like she's smiling down on us now, knowing that she saved them and that it finally paid off. So she's thinking of us. And thank you to my husband, Todd, who sorted through all of those and contributed to help contribute to tonight, and he is my current biggest supporter, so thank you for that. And lastly, I am grateful for my family and friends. So these two tables right here, they're friends who I consider a family, and we all do. So I look forward to watching my own kids, Lauren and Drew, find their own passions. My nieces and nephews who have all had their own successes in sports and the arts, and we can't wait to see where that takes them. And just in general, I'm surrounded by these two tables. We are each other's biggest cheerleaders and supporters. And we often want more for each other than we want for ourselves. So I am so humbled and grateful tonight. So thank you.
Congratulations, Catherine. We could have used you in the baseball team back in the 90s, I'll tell you that. Isn't it great to see that so many of our top athletes are also so articulate and humble and conduct themselves with such poise and grace? Catherine Murphy is a perfect example of that. Reading football has had an impressive number of great quarterbacks who have been named All-League, All-Scholastic, and entered our Hall of Fame. Now we can add to the list the name Stan Andre. Stan, who also excelled in track and field, was a sensational two-way player in football who used his rare combination of power, strength, and speed to be both a prolific middle linebacker and multifaceted quarterback. Stan had a senior year for the ages where he amassed nearly 2,000 yards from scrimmage, rushing and passing, while leading his team to an undefeated season in Super Bowl championships.
Imagine trying to tackle a 6'1", 230-pound freight train who could also beat you with his arm. And you start to get a sense of what made RMHS Class of 2010's Stan Andre so special. A 3-year varsity letter winner, 2-time Middlesex League All-Star, and a Boston Herald All-Scholastic at quarterback and middle linebacker, Andre capped off a stellar high school career by leading the Rockets to arguably their greatest season in history, a perfect 13-0 season in 2009, culminating with a Division II Super Bowl championship at Gillette Stadium. Andre also threw the shot put and javelin on the track team, but it was football where he truly excelled. A Dorchester native and a Metco student, Andre's physical distance from the town didn't diminish his popularity with his teammates. Though quiet, he exuded a confidence toward which young players gravitated. And as a senior, he was named captain of both the track and football teams. Despite his full athletic plate and tough commuting schedule, he was also an excellent student, taking a mix of honors and AP classes. Reading had an abundance of skill at every position, and Andre was no exception. But make no mistake, physicality is what made him and the Rockets great. That's just our offensive philosophy, the smash mouth spread, Andre said. We want to be the toughest and most physical team. Andre saw limited action as a sophomore, starting 2 games when starter Ryan Panett went down with an injury. But in that brief window, he showcased flashes of the power and finesse that would make him a star. Andre finished 16 of 30 passing for 176 yards and was also 4th on the team in rushing with 28 carries, 81 yards, and a TD. He also played linebacker, seeing varsity action in 6 games. In his junior year, Andre came into his own, leading the Rockets to an 11-1 season and the first of back-to-back Middlesex League championships. Andre rushed for 561 yards on 127 carries with 10 touchdowns and completed 57 of 105 pass attempts for 965 yards with 5 touchdowns. He was named a first-team Middlesex All-Star. In a 2012 loss to Walpole in the playoffs, Andre nearly willed the Rockets to victory, finishing with 106 yards on 18 carries with 2 TDs, including an 8-yard TD run that put the Rockets up 12-7 with 3:29 to play. In 2009, he and the Rockets would not be denied. In his senior year, Andre became the first recorded quarterback in school history to rush for more than 1,000 yards in a single season, finishing with 1,078 yards on 161 carries for a 6.7 yard per carry average with 9 rushing touchdowns. He also threw for 915 yards, completing 58 of 104 pass attempts for a 56% completion rate with 7 touchdowns. In addition, he was the Rockets' starting middle linebacker, where he finished second on the team with 83 tackles. When the playoffs began, Andre elevated his game. In a 20-6 first-round win over Dracut, Andre bowled over and dragged Dracut tacklers for 124 yards on 26 carries with 2 touchdowns. He also threw for 101 yards on 9 of 12 passing, including a 21-yard touchdown pass. In the team's Division II Super Bowl win, Andre ran for 73 yards on 18 bruising carries with a touchdown, as he and co-captain Ryan Pollock ran roughshod over undefeated Natick. Andre capped off his high school football career with an all-star showing in the elite Shriners All-Star game. He had 5 tackles and broke up a South touchdown pass to earn the North squad's MVP honors. His postseason accolades included first-team ML All-Star, 2009 Massachusetts High School Football All-State Coaches Award, Daily Times Chronicle Offensive Player of the Year, and Boston Herald All-Scholastic. In his 2 seasons at the helm for the Rockets, Andre finished 26-1. If a Division I college program doesn't scoop him up, I don't know what you look at anymore, said head coach John Fiore. Coaches always talk about recruiting winners and great people, and if I'm a college coach, I'm recruiting Stan Andre pretty hard right now. Andre's play was indeed too great to ignore, and he parlayed his success on the gridiron into a scholarship with the UMass Minutemen. As a true freshman, he saw time on special teams and as a backup linebacker. By his redshirt sophomore year, he cracked the starting defense at defensive end. He started all 12 games, recording 41 tackles, 4 tackles for loss, a sack, and a forced fumble. By his junior year, Andre was back at linebacker. He again started all 12 games and led the Minutemen with 111 tackles, including 6 tackles for a loss, a forced fumble, and 2 pass breakups. As a senior, Andre opened the year as Phil Steele preseason All-MAC 4th team linebacker and backed up that selection with 12 tackles against Boston College in the season opener. He also recorded a game-high 8 tackles against Penn State, including 2 for a loss, and 19 tackles against Bowling Green.
One of our hardest workers, and he's just been a leader every day.
Andre finished the season second on the Minutemen with 128 tackles, including 3.5 tackles for a loss, a sack, a fumble recovery, and 3 pass breakups. For his play, he was named All-MAC 3rd team at linebacker. After college, Andre participated in a pro day and a rookie minicamp with the Jacksonville Jaguars in hopes of cracking the NFL. While he couldn't realize that dream, he earned his degree in research economics and went on to be a successful investment consultant. For his leadership and incredible prowess on the football field, class of 2010 Stan Andre is welcomed into the RMHS Athletic Hall of Fame, class of 2024.
Did anyone see that catch, that packaging? Good evening, everyone. First and foremost, I'd like to thank the coaches, families, friends, staff members, teachers, colleagues for being here today. Each and every one of you mean a great deal to me, and I'm happy that we're able to share this experience here together. I'd also like to thank the RMHS Athletic Hall of Fame community for putting on such an amazing event. Jeff, Brian, and all the other folks a part of the group, thank you for putting on a good show here. I'm going to start off by setting off the mood a little bit, everyone. If you've ever seen the classic Friday Night Lights, and I'm talking the movie, not the corny Netflix sort of series or anything of that capacity, it's based on a true story about a high school in Odessa, Texas. One of the most memorable scenes, to me at least, is after one of Mojo's Permian Panthers, for those that maybe haven't seen it, first preseason practices. Some of the boys go out for dinner, in which to be an outdoor restaurant. A guy who seems to be a local of some sort walks over to Mike Winchell, the quarterback, and a few of his teammates. He specifically approaches Mike. And after a little bit of conversation, the local asks for a picture. Mike is standing there puzzled to why he's holding this guy's baby. But at the end of the day, they joke around a little bit. And during that section of the movie, they talk about life, babies, and memories. Certainly a key moment, but the most important part of that scene is at the end of the conversation, the guy looks at Mike and says, "Get you one of these." Now, I'm sure most of you have seen the movie. Maybe some nostalgia is setting in. Lots of good players on the team, Boobie Miles, Billingsley, the list sort of goes on. They worked hard over the course of the season, had a few ups and downs, but to cut to the chase, they always talked about being perfect. And part of being perfect was to win state. The Permian Panthers, after a wild season, went to the state championship and lost. Now you're probably wondering, where's he going with all this? How does he remember the vivid points of the movie?
Well, the truth is, I actually just rewatched it last week as I was starting to write this speech and thinking about what to say outside of thank you to every single person that means a great deal to me. Trust me, I'd be here all night if that was the case. But the message I'm trying to drive home is we at Reading did what Mojo was destined to do. And that was being perfect. I'm proud to say today that I share one of these with a lot of my boys here today. The game of football has impacted my life in ways that I can't express. The discipline, the commitment, the devotion, the heart, passion, all in ways the way I at least try to live, my life today. The two distinct principles that I abide by, both learned by playing football at Reading, is locking in to the task at hand and never quitting. Now, when I say lock, I'm not talking about Coach Theo yelling lock to Ross over and over again in one of our practices senior year. I'm talking about the commitment to getting the job done and never quit. Coach, I just want to say you're lucky that Ross is not here tonight. I'd actually give you a live visual of your frustration if that was the case. The 2009 Rockets just had a win every day, win every rep mentality. That's what set us apart from all the other competition as we walked onto the field, the 12-yard line in each and every game. We never came to lose. I can't express how thankful and honored I am to accept this award, but most importantly, nothing could have been achieved without my Reading football brothers, coaches, and family. I'm sure there's going to be many other individuals from our team in my same shoes in the future, but as we know, there's no I in team, but there is in me. And for me, I'm most proud of our team for making history tonight. Thank you, 01867. Go Rockets.
Some of my post-speech comments are devised ahead of time, and some occur to me after the Hall of Fame speaks. In the case of Stan, this just struck me. I'm guessing you got a really warm reception when you came up here, Stan. And I'm guessing that's not so much for what you did on the field, but for who you are off the field. And I think your teammates appreciate that. So congratulations. We'll see you back up here soon with your teammates and coaches. I'd like to take a moment to recognize Hall of Fame President Jeff Pierce. Like his father Don, who was our 2017 Cliff Allen Award recipient, Jeff has been a valuable asset to our athletic community for many years in many areas. If you want something done thoroughly with professionalism in class, call on Jeff. When Jeff takes on a task, he does so with a tireless commitment until every detail is perfected. Tonight's spectacular ceremony is just one example of Jeff's dedication and excellence. Next, Sue Madden is, I love that response. Sue Madden is part of an exceptionally athletic family, beginning with her grandmother who competed in the 1936 Olympics. Sue's sisters were terrific multi-sport athletes for Reading, and her mother Nancy has been a brilliant RMHS track coach for decades. Now, Sue had no problem continuing the family tradition as she played several sports at Reading High, but it was her greatest passion, track and field, where Sue's hard work and determination propelled her to the highest level of achievement. As a shot putter, Sue is a 4-time Middlesex League All-Star, school record holder, All-Scholastic, and ultimately Massachusetts State Champion.
Sue Madden's athletic career is a story of dedication, talent, and the unique bond of family. Over her high school years, Madden excelled at multiple sports, setting school records and achieving numerous accolades athletically and in the classroom, all while having her family by her side as supporters, teammates, and even coaches. The family's legacy of athletic excellence goes back generations and even includes Madden's grandmother, who competed in track at the 1936 Olympics. Madden recalls her childhood fondly, stating that she, quote, grew up on the track. She frequently attended track practice with her mom as a toddler, watched her dad run road races, and even participated in her first track meet before she turned 2 years old. Despite that connection to track, Madden's primary sport growing up was basketball, where she excelled for her AAU team. With a mother who already made a name for herself as a successful track coach and 2 athletic older sisters at RMHS, Madden entered high school with high expectations, and she did not disappoint. Madden made the varsity basketball team as a freshman, allowing her to play alongside her sister and captain, Andrea. Next up in the spring, Madden joined the varsity outdoor track team, coached by Ken Fight, Dave Williams, Maura Signetti, and her mother, Nancy. Under the leadership of her sister and captain, Andrea, and with her other sister, Stephanie, also on the team dominated the Middlesex League and won the 2000 league championship. All 3 Madden sisters were a force to be reckoned with on the track. Madden, Andrea, and teammate Mary Christine Kwiatek went on to win the state Class B shot put relay that year. Madden's shot put skills also qualified her for the state championships, setting the stage for an incredibly dominant high school career. Madden's sophomore year began with a setback when she partially tore her ACL during the fall volleyball season. This limited her game participation on the basketball team, but she was still a strong presence with her leadership and determination at practice and at games throughout the season. Her perseverance with her rehabilitation paid off, and she had a stellar spring track season. She finished in 2nd place in the Class B championships and 4th in the All-State, while qualifying for the New England Championships. She was also named a Middlesex League All-Star, an honor she would earn for all 4 years. Madden's junior year saw her continue to excel, and she even added a 4th sport to her repertoire, playing on the soccer team for the first time. On the basketball court, the team upset number 6 Charlestown before suffering a tough loss to powerhouse Melrose in the Division II North quarterfinals. Her contributions to the team's success were noticed, and she was selected to play in the Middlesex League All-Star game. In outdoor track her junior year, Madden broke the school record in shot put on April 10, 2002, with a throw of 37 feet, 5 inches. She remained undefeated in shot put during league meets and only lost once in the discus. Her outstanding performances helped the team win yet another Middlesex League championship. She was the Class B shot put champion and placed 4th in the All-States while qualifying for the New England Championships for the 2nd time. As Madden entered her senior year, she was named captain of the varsity basketball team. However, she chose to focus her attention on track and instead competed in indoor track for the first time. In basketball, she was a reliable starting player, but she came to realize that she had much greater potential in throwing, said Madden's mother and coach, Nancy. Once she doubled down on her skill development, she began to improve almost monthly to become a dominant league-wide performer and eventually statewide title holder. Coach Madden continued, "This decision to compete in indoor track ultimately paid off, and she broke the indoor shot put school record throw of 39 feet, 9.5 inches at the first meet of the season, a record that still exists. And to no one's surprise, she won at the State Coaches Invitational, finished 2nd at the Class B meet, and 4th at both the All-State and New England Championships. And with her team winning the Middlesex League title, it was a dramatic entrance into the indoor track world for Madden. Madden went out with a bang while captaining her final outdoor track season of her high school career, winning at the Andover Invitational by throwing over 40 feet for the first time, 40 feet, 4 inches to be exact, breaking her own school record, which she still holds. Madden describes finally achieving her ultimate goal of throwing 40-plus feet as her favorite high school sports memory. I had the best captains that supported me through that hurdle, she said. It was a mind game to finally break that barrier, and the next day, my locker and car were decorated with 40 signs and streamers. It was a huge personal accomplishment, but I also really loved the support of my team. She still has one of the signs, a testament to how meaningful that moment was to her. Madden remained undefeated in the shot put within the Middlesex League for the second consecutive year. She won the state Class B shot put for the second time and placed 5th in the discus. At all states, she won the shot put, securing her title as the #1 female shot putter in Massachusetts during her senior year, and is the only female shot putter in the history of RMHS to win the all-state meet. A 5th place at the All-New England meet was her farewell to the Reading track scene and cemented her place as one of the school's most decorated track athletes in history. The awards kept rolling in for Madden as she got ready to move on to the next stage, locking in the Boston Globe All-Scholastic, Chronicle Outstanding Spring Sports Performer for Girls Field Events, and the David Castine Memorial Award for Outstanding Contributions to the 2003 Spring Track Team. In college, Madden attended RPI and was on the indoor and outdoor track teams. Her freshman year, she broke both the indoor and outdoor school records for shot put, and also broke the record for discus. She went on to break her own records several times over a 3-year period. Her decorated college career included conference-level honors and championships, multiple regional invitational championships, and top finishes as high as 2nd place in the ECAC championships. When asked how her college career went, she joked, "I met my husband there on his first day on the track team, so I would say it went pretty well." Sports remain a big part of Madden's life to this day. She has worked for ESPN for over 15 years, and during that time, she has been part of creative teams that have won 8 Emmy Awards for productions such as College Game Day and the FIFA World Cup. She is also an avid Celtics fan and was a track official for some time. Madden, her husband David, and 3 children live in Connecticut and are all kept busy with a multitude of youth sports. Nancy Madden noted that she has always tried to keep her coaching life and her private life separate, but noted, "As Sue's mom, as well as her throwing coach at the time, I am double proud to see her election into the RMHS Hall of Fame." It is the committee's great pleasure to induct Sue Madden into the Reading Memorial High School Athletic Hall of Fame, Class of 2024.
Thank you. If you noticed my graceful walk up those stairs, I'm recovering from a recent knee surgery, the same knee that I hurt. I tore my ACL in high school. It's my 4th surgery. So while most of my memories from high school are great, I also get a daily reminder that my high school days aren't far behind me. I would like to first start off by thanking the Hall of Fame committee. I'm so honored to be part of the 2024 Hall of Fame class. I want to thank Kara for all of her hard work, and Jeff as well to help make that amazing video and summarize my time here at RMHS. I'm extremely lucky to have 2 tables filled with people that I love and care about. Each helped me get to where I am today, especially my parents, who have always been very supportive of my academics and athletics throughout my entire life. I know the time, money, and effort it took to make sure I was at every practice, every game, and was afforded all of the opportunities that I needed to succeed was a huge undertaking. This, on top of doing that for 2 other daughters, I want you to know that it does not go unnoticed or unappreciated. I was lucky enough to grow up on the track with my mom, her the assistant coach since before I was born. My sisters and I literally spent hours there, running around, getting in the athlete's way, and locking the keys in the minivan continuously because we wanted to grab something and we would forget to take the keys out. But at least we learned to lock the door behind us. I then had the pleasure of having my mom as my coach. I would like to publicly apologize to you for all the times you taught me something at practice over and over and over again. And I would look at you and say, okay, and then I just didn't listen. Always towards the ends of those practices,
You would have me continue to throw and let everyone else be done for the day, which would annoy me. But then you would pull Mr. Fight or Mr. Williams over and tell them to say the same exact words that you had been telling me all practice. And I would listen to them and throw the best I had thrown all day. So I'm sorry. As always, you were right. Clearly you knew that, but that about sums up life with me. And you created me, so maybe part of it's your fault too. I don't know. Both of my sisters and their husbands are here today. Thank you for coming. I know I was not the easiest sibling growing up, but I truly want to thank you both from the bottom of my heart for laying such an amazing path for me to follow. Without the two of you, I do not think the standards I set for myself would be so high. You know, I really mainly tried to be mom and dad's favorite kid, so I always had to outdo your last accomplishments, and that was really, really hard. Both of you were outstanding students and athletes while at RMHS. Steph setting your own records on the track, Andrea making throwing look easy while also excelling at soccer and basketball. Andrew, you going on to be the best thrower and record holder at Holy Cross, and Steph, you being a Radio City Rockette for years. You both have so much to be proud of, and I'm so proud to call you guys my sisters. My Aunt Jean and Uncle Henry are here. Thank you guys so much for coming. It's hard for me to remember any large milestone in my life that you guys have not been at, and for that, I'm one of the most luckiest people in the world. Thank you for being here for me always. Thank you for always reminding me that family really is everything. Mr. Fight, Coach Fight, Fido, you truly are one of a kind. Your smile, hugs, and encouragement have meant so much to me my entire life. I'm so lucky to have grown up knowing you as a family friend first, and then as my coach. Listening to your words of wisdom, watching you become a dad, listening to you play the banjo, it's truly been a gift. I appreciated you on the days that I was having a really hard time, and you never gave up thinking that I could actually throw that shot put further than I had before. I also had the pleasure of having Mr. Fight as my teacher. I don't think he would say I was a pleasure to have in class though. English always has been and always will be my worst subject. I'm a very literal person and I do not understand metaphors. But anyways, I remember early in the school year that year, anytime you called on me in class, you would call me Susie, which was my nickname when I was little, but I was in high school now. So I was no longer Susie. So anytime you called on me, I just didn't respond to you. I literally silent, did not answer. So after a few days of this antics, Mr. Fight said, you know, he asked me to stay behind, and I was smart enough because I do know that you said, Susie, please stay behind. And you asked me why I was ignoring you, and I just looked at you and I said, my name is Sue, and I walked away. From then on, you called me Sue in class, so thank you. But I'm surprised you even passed me, so, or gave me any time of the day after that. So I just want to thank you. You always saw my potential, putting in the extra time to get me there. Thank you for the nomination. I would not be standing here without you. Mr. Williams, Coach Williams, thank you for being here. Your patience and calmness were always felt in the middle of those anxious meets. I could always rely on you for some good words of wisdom and maybe a witty remark to try and help calm my nerves between my throws. For those who don't know, Mr. Williams is a huge bird enthusiast. He does talks and leads guided walks for bird watchers. I remember standing in the middle of a track meet and Mr. Williams identifying the birds you could hear chirping. You are a great reminder to always stop looking at the big picture and to just appreciate the small things around you, because those are the things that really count. So thank you. I have my two best friends here, who are also RMHS athletes, Crystal Murphy and Megan Carroll. Crystal was part of the very first girls hockey team for Running High and went on to be the captain. Megan was a standout swimmer and also the captain. They both went on to be college athletes. I met these girls in elementary school and we literally grew up together. We still talk every single day and I'm so grateful for their friendship. So thank you. I also want to acknowledge Meg's brother, Matt, was inducted into the 2007 Hall of Fame. He tragically passed away from brain cancer in 2021 and is deeply missed every single day. Coach Kim and Coach D, thank you guys. I made the varsity basketball team my freshman year. I love playing for both of you. During high school, I was plagued with knee injuries, but they were always so supportive in working with me and the doctors on what I could and could not do. No matter if I was playing or not, they always made me feel part of the team, and I really appreciate that. When I told them I was stepping down from my captaincy and from the team my senior year to go join the track team and pursue my dream of a state championship, I was really scared of their reactions and how that would change our relationship. I can't thank you enough for accepting my decision while also supporting me. It meant so much knowing that even though I truly thought it was the best decision for me and the teammates, you had my back and did not hold that against me at all. To my husband, Dave, thank you for doing track that second semester freshman year. We met on his very first day of track practice. However, Dave didn't last very long on the track team. I had told him not to go on the spring training trip, but he went to California and he ended up having an emergency appendectomy and spent the week in the hospital out there alone. He left the team shortly after that to focus on playing football. But I'm so thankful that we met and we were able to create this beautiful life with our 3 beautiful kids, so thank you. For those who couldn't be here, Morris Ignetti, who is one of my track coaches and also an RMHS track athlete. Thank you to my Nana, who actually spoke at Mr. Fiore's class one year. She was a 1936 Olympian, and my great aunt Fran, who was in some of the pictures as well. They were literally mine and my sister's biggest supporters. They would drive together to any event they could get to without going on the highway, which really was best with the way that Franny drove. I was lucky enough to have them in my life through college, and they were even able to see some of my work on TV before they passed away. I always like to tell the story of my Nana. She was 94 at the time of this story. She was sitting in the den of her nursing home, and they were watching CNN with the other fellow residents. At the time, I worked on the bottom line for ESPN, which is the graphic that scrolls and tells you all the scores and the news tickers. I walked in, I said my hellos, and my Nana stands up and announces to everyone, "This is my granddaughter. She makes that ticker you see on the screen." And they all ooh and ah. And she sits down and I was like, "Nana, that's not even my network on the television." And she quickly responds, "They don't know, they're all old here." But it just shows how proud she was, no matter what. Thank you to my neighbors, the Macruses, who have been here, and to Dave Dickerson, who's the longtime Somerville track coach, Jen Thompson, also former Hall of Fame inductee, and to everyone else who has encouraged me on my journey. Lastly, I want to thank all of my teammates. A lot of people will tell you that track is an individual sport besides the relays, but I could not be further from the truth. My teammates got me through each practice and each meet. Yes, I may be the only one throwing the shot put at that time, but if I didn't have these women surrounding me and cheering me on and lifting me up, I would not have accomplished so much, and I would not have enjoyed every second of this experience. So thank you.
Congratulations, Sue. I love how Sue so eloquently expressed her gratitude to her coaches, and it makes me think how lucky our young people are at RMHS to be mentored by such wonderful coaches and people like Ken Fite, Nancy Madden, Dave Williams, Kim Penny, Jim DeBenedictis, Morris Dignetti. That is just the beauty and the value of being at RMHS, so thank you for doing that, Sue. I need to say this to you, Sue. So you're a high school state champion, and now Hall of Famer, you're collegiate school record holder in shot put and discus, and you won 8 Emmy Awards. Now the rest of us have to go home and feel like we need to do something with our lives. How All right, in his 4 varsity seasons, Rob Kozlowski was a goal-scoring machine for the RMHS boys hockey team. With 92 career goals, that's a lot of goals, Rob became the 2nd leading scorer in the storied history of Reading hockey. He was a 3-time All-League selection, a Boston Globe and Herald All-Scholastic, while his career culminated in a thrilling Super 8 title. I must also mention that Rob was a strong hitting, good fielding first baseman for the baseball team. Taz, I just wanted you to know that how much your teammates and coaches respected you and liked you, and you were such a great kid to coach.
The accomplishments of the 2008 Super 8 champion RMHS hockey team will be felt for years in the RMHS Athletic Hall of Fame. That's because of the individual achievements of a handful of its players who will be taking their rightful place in this society of athletic greatness. Rob Kozlowski, the premier goal scorer on the 08 Rockets, is the latest entry, as Toz comes in with some mighty lofty credentials. Only the ultra-talented Reading Athletic Hall of Famer Sean Collins scored more goals for Reading High than the 92 that Kozlowski scored during his Rocket career, while his 178 career points rank 5th all-time. Rob Kozlowski cannot remember ever not being on skates. Dating back to his days as a 3-year-old at the Learn to Skate program, he was on a fast track to stardom that ultimately led him to be a 4-year varsity player for the Rockets. Toz fit well into being the team's power forward as a 6-foot-tall, 200-pound left winger with his style of driving to the net and his finishing touch. Rob made his debut during the 2004-2005 season as a freshman, a season that saw the Reading High team advance to the Super 8 semifinals, only to bow out to Catholic Memorial at the Fleet Center, as it was then known. That loss, although disappointing at the time, proved to be a driving force for the younger players in the program. They saw something in themselves that said they could perhaps take it a step further and beyond in future Super 8 tournaments. The Rockets had some Middlesex League All-Stars returning for their senior season in 2005-2006, but they were quickly overshadowed by the sophomore trio of Patrick Kiley at right wing, Michael Losey at center, and Rob Kozlowski on the left side, who began to make their presence felt. This line was first formed when they were members of the sophomore team at the Hockey Night in Boston summer tournament that prior August, and they really started clicking from the outset. Reading didn't quite have the season to return to the Super 8 in 2006, but the Rockets did finish in 2nd place behind Winchester and won a game in the Division I North tournament before losing to St. John's Prep. Toz had a breakout year for the Rockets, leading his team with 25 goals and 23 assists for 48 points. Kozlowski had a 4-goal game against Burlington and 3 other hat tricks against Woburn, Melrose, and Stoneham in his sophomore year. He received the first of 3 straight Middlesex League All-Star selections for his efforts. By Kozlowski's junior year in 2006-2007, the team was firmly centered around the junior class. Besides the 3 forwards, defensemen Garrett Collins, Travis Bush, and Quinlan Junta were now established blue line regulars. It was another outstanding season for Kozlowski as he reached the 60-point plateau with 29 goals and 31 assists, highlighted by a 5-goal game against Wakefield. The Rockets soared back to the top of the Middlesex League, winning their 15th league title under legendary coach Peter Doherty, and gained entrance to the Super 8 tournament again. But after sitting with a 19-2-0 record, the Rockets lost their regular season finale to Catholic Memorial, and then did not win a game in the round-robin portion of the Super 8, losing to Catholic school teams BC High, St. John's Prep, and Austin Prep in succession. However, high hopes for the 2007-2008 season were pretty obvious, as all of Reading's top 7 scorers would be back the following year. The top line of Kiley, Losey, and Kozlowski was riding high with all their past success and experience going into this special season. They knew as a group they could compete against anyone. The Rockets started that campaign off on a blistering pace as they won their first 13 games in dominating fashion. Only one of those 13 wins was by a margin of 1 goal, as the Rockets were beating teams by scores of 6-0, 7-1, 9-2, and 10-1. BC High stopped the Reading win streak with a 3-1 victory over the Rockets at Burbank Arena, but that didn't slow Reading's momentum, and the Rockets and Eagles would also meet later that season in a more meaningful game. Reading capped off the regular season with 7 more wins and became the second team in Middlesex League history to go a perfect 18 wins, 0 losses, and 0 ties in league play. The other was the 1996-97 Reading team. The Rockets, despite their lofty record, only earned a number 5 seed in the Super 8 tournament and felt a bit disrespected, according to Kozlowski. Reading then earned its revenge on BC High in the first game of the tournament with a 2-1 win at the DCU Center in Worcester, and cleared a major hurdle while earning some confidence and momentum going into a meeting with Catholic Memorial. Playing at Tsongas Arena, the Rockets were always in control, as goals by Kozlowski and 4 other different scorers paved the way to a 5-2 win and assured the Rockets of a spot in the tournament semifinals. Reading then put away Zavarian 5-2 to reach the title game. After a slow start in the championship game at the TD Bank North Garden against Malden Catholic, the Rockets got on the board with a goal from Kiley. However, Malden Catholic hung tough and was not allowing the Rockets to pull away. At the start of the second period, a fluke goal by Kozlowski then changed the momentum of the game for good. Dumping one in from the neutral zone on net, the puck found its way across the goal line for a 2-0 Reading lead. Soon after, Kozlowski took a nice diagonal pass from Losey and fired home a shot from above the left faceoff circle to make it 3-0. There was little drama left after that, as Reading was content to play a composed, defensive-oriented brand of hockey the rest of the way.
Let's watch history being made.
When the final horn sounded, the Rockets became the first public school team to win the Super 8 tournament, and Rob Kozlowski certainly had a major role in accomplishing that feat.
To win the Super 8 title.
For his final season, Kozlowski scored 35 goals with 30 assists for 65 points. Along with his line mates, they were named to the All-Scholastic Super Teams by the Boston Globe and Herald for that season. Rob was also a 2-year varsity member of the RMHS baseball team and was the starting first baseman as a senior in 2008. He helped the Rockets achieve a 16-6 overall record and provided a big hit in the 4-1 tournament win over Latin Academy. After a year at Proctor Academy, Kozlowski played 4 years of college hockey at Bowdoin. He is still playing the game to this day in a men's league in Middleton on Thursday nights with former Rocket teammate Pat Kiley. The RMHS Athletic Hall of Fame welcomes Rob Kozlowski into its Hall of Fame class of 2024.
First, I'd like to thank the RMHS Hall of Fame Committee for their hard work in organizing tonight's event. It's truly an honor to be inducted, and I'm grateful for all the effort that's gone into making this ceremony possible. I also want to thank all my coaches along the way. While my baseball career not as extensive as my hockey, I'd be remiss if I did not recognize Coach Surface, Coach Morrison, and Coach Mascarello. From freshman to varsity, I'm grateful for everything they did to help us improve as players and make the game of baseball so enjoyable. As for my hockey coaches, I want to thank Peter Puck, Dave Hunter, and Mark Gardy. Managing all those personalities in the locker room wasn't easy, but they always got the best out of us. They weren't afraid to make tough decisions no matter the egos involved, and I appreciated their direct approach. Whether you were on the first line or the fourth, they held you accountable. I'd also like to give a special thank you to Mark Gardy for the opportunity to coach the JV and varsity team over the past 11 years. It's been a true honor to represent the program. 2 years ago, I sat in the same room watching our 2008 state championship team be inducted. And it brought back memories of how my teammates shaped that unforgettable season. Looking back at my entire career, there are many teammates I'd like to thank. To save a little bit of time, I won't mention them all individually, but I have to highlight a couple. You heard a lot of them in that video. It would be Pat Kiley and Mike Losey. I had the privilege of being their line mate for 3 years, and together we built incredible high school careers that culminated in a state championship. We couldn't have asked for a better line combination. Mike was a steady presence, both on and off the ice, and when you pair him with the chemistry Pat and I developed over through youth hockey, we created the most dangerous line in the state. Even with all that chemistry, Pat and I still found ways to argue, each one of us trying to outdo the other. That inner rivalry is a perfect example of what drives me, my competitive nature. Whether it's a Massachusetts state championship or playing street hockey in my grandmother's driveway for a tinfoil Stanley Cup replica, my friends and I just wanted to win. To this day, I'm still hyper-competitive, and I make no apologies for it. Competition often gets a bad rep, but I see it as a way to better oneself. It's that drive that got me here today, and what makes me a better coach, employee, and person. Some say I should let my wife win at mini golf. Sorry, Alex, you're gonna have to earn that one. But seriously, this competitive spirit brings me to my biggest thank you, my family. I stand here as an individual, but this induction is a reflection of all of you. To Grady, Amy, Billy, and Bobby, you never missed an opportunity to support me, no matter the weather or the distance. Even Rocky Dog made appearances at the Burbank to cheer me on. To my sisters, you've both been key in fueling my competitive nature. It wasn't always easy having a temperamental brother, but you managed to handle it over the past 34 years. And yes, I still know I need to spot the Sagamore Bridge first on the way to the Cape. And to my parents, I reflect both of your competitive qualities. Not sure where I got the height, but life's full of mysteries. Mom, you taught me that it's not what about others have done, but what I did. That lesson instilled me the drive to always improve. Dad, you just wanted me to play hockey. It was you who asked the pediatrician at what age can you skate. Answer, 3 years old. From there, you coached me the skills that made me a better player and teammate. Thank you both for the countless miles you traveled, the lessons you've taught me, and the unwavering support you continue to give me. Tonight's induction is not just a reflection of my efforts, but a tribute to the incredible support I had from family, coaches, and teammates. Thank you all for shaping me into the person I am today. This honor is as much yours as it is mine. Thank you.
Congratulations, Taz. Coach Mark Doherty, would you agree with Taz when he says your dad had a direct approach? That's exactly what made Pete Doherty the legendary Hall of Fame coach that he was. So Taz, we hope that you know that your hockey and baseball teammates and coaches, how much they are proud of you and happy for you, and that goes for the RMHS hockey players that you coach today. So congratulations. So how are we doing? We're about halfway through, I think. Dinner was good? Everything's good? Let's keep going. Each of our Hall of Fame members has a lengthy, impressive list of personal accomplishments. But girls swim team standout Erica Belcher took her achievements to a mind-boggling level. All right, listen to this. A 4-time league all-star, 4-time all-scholastic, holder of 8 state titles, 7 sectional titles, and countless school records, Erica is in a league of her own. When you see and hear about Erica's unparalleled career, you will understand why the Daily Times Chronicle called her perhaps the most dominant athlete in the school's history.
The Reading High girls swim program, prior to the arrival of Erica Belcher, had its fair share of stars who went on to eventually be named Reading Athletic Hall of Famers. But it wasn't until Belcher that the Reading girls swim program had a bona fide superstar. Erica was taught to swim at a young age. She was first introduced to the water at her grandmother's pool and then took swimming lessons at Boston Sports Club. There, the instructor felt Erica was catching on real fast and said maybe she should think about joining a swim team. So Erica's parents, Frank and Charlene, signed her up with the Burbank YMCA Bluefins, and her career took off from there. From the time Belcher debuted as a freshman in the fall of 2007, she made her presence felt immediately, as she went on to smash record after record in no time at all in her first season. Right off the bat in the meet with Wakefield, she set 2 new Middlesex League and school records in the 100 butterfly and 200 freestyle. In the next meet against Melrose, the school record for the 500 freestyle fell and became Belcher's. Then against Winchester, in a meet that had Middlesex League title implications, Belcher set 2 more school records in the 100 freestyle and 100 backstroke, thus giving the freshman 5 school records in her rookie year, and it wasn't even October yet. The 200 individual medley became the 6th school record that Erica broke in the subsequent meet with Burlington. Reading won the Middlesex League regular season title and backed it up with the league meet crown. In that meet held at Bentley, Erica Belcher set a new league record in the 100 backstroke with her victory. However, the freshman had to settle for second place in the 100 butterfly, coming in behind Winchester's Anna Senko in what turned out to be the only time Erica lost a race in Middlesex League competition for her entire 4 years in high school. Let that sink in for a moment, won't you? Unhindered by a rare second place finish in the league meet, Erica won North Sectional titles in the 100 freestyle and 100 backstroke, as well as being part of a new school record with the winning 200 medley relay team. The following meet, she did that one better, with Division I state titles in those same individual events, to become the first state champion in the Reading High girls swim program's history. The honors came pouring in, as Erica was named a Middlesex League All-Star, as well as an All-Scholastic by both the Boston Globe and Boston Herald. She would be named a League All-Star and Consensus All-Scholastic in all 4 of her high school swim seasons. After an outstanding freshman season that saw Erica break 6 school or league records, becoming a 2-time sectional and state champion, as well as a Consensus All-Scholastic, there was no resting on her laurels. Erica was still driven to get better, and her training regimen increased. A Navy SEAL would be envious of the sacrifice and demands Erica Belcher put herself through for the success of her and her team. By the time her senior year rolled around at Reading High, it was not uncommon for a typical in-season day to consist of a 4:45 to 6:30 a.m. practice with her swim club up in Andover. Then, off to Reading High for a day of classes. At 2:30, there was a high school swim practice. After practice, another trip to Andover for practice with her club team until 7 or 8 p.m. In the 2 years prior to her senior year, as a sophomore and junior, Erica continued to go on and break her own records several times. At the end of her sophomore year, the Lady Rockets not only won another Middlesex League regular season title and the league meet, but they captured a bigger prize, the 2008 North Sectional Championship. Swimming sectionals are a regional competition that encompass all divisions. Sure, Reading teams dominated in the Middlesex League and were always competitive in the sectionals and states. But it wasn't until the 2008 North Sectionals that the Reading program won a significant title outside its league. Belcher won 2 more individual sectional titles with victories in the 200 freestyle and 100 backstroke. She was also part of the winning 200 medley relay team. But Reading needed her to come through a 4th time, swimming the anchor leg of the pivotal 400 freestyle relay that was going to decide the outcome of the meet. Halfway during the meet, it leaked out that we were in the lead, Belcher said at the time. It came down to the last relay, and I was swimming last. It was the craziest feeling ever. I never had my heart pound like that when I was on the block. Erica touched first as the Lady Rockets won the event and their first ever sectional title. Unfortunately, Reading could not repeat that feat in the Division I state meet, but it still finished a commendable third. Belcher won state titles in the 200 IM and 100 backstroke. After an outstanding junior year that was highlighted by another ML regular season and league meet title, Erica won the 200 IM in both the sectionals and states. She settled for second in the sectionals in the 100 backstroke, marking just the second and final time Erica Belcher would not win a high school race. Erica did win the backstroke at the state meet, however. By her junior year, Erica was flooded by letters of interest from big-time colleges too numerous to mention. College coaches were not allowed to actually talk to recruits until July 1 prior to their senior year. When that date arrived, the phone started ringing off the hook at the Belcher house. Erica eventually took 4 campus visits. Besides Auburn, she went to Louisville, Minnesota, and Indiana. Erica signed her letter of intent to swim at Auburn University on November 10 of her senior year. Erica Belcher and the Lady Rockets capped off Belcher's fine high school career with a victory in the Division II state meet held at Harvard for Reading's first ever state title. Erica set 2 new state meet and school records in winning 2 individual races, the 200 individual medley and the 100 backstroke, which automatically qualified her for high school All-American status. She also swam on 2 winning relay teams, the 200 medley and 400 freestyle teams, as Reading easily outdistanced defending champ Bishop Field. The local newspaper, the Daily Times Chronicle, dubbed Erica Belcher perhaps the most dominant male or female athlete in his or her sport in the school's history at that time. Who could argue then, as not many high school athletes had the credentials Erica Belcher did by the close of her career. A holder of 8 state titles, 7 sectional titles, and a 4-time All-Scholastic, not to mention leading her Reading High team to its first ever girls swimming state title. Erica went on to swim her freshman year for Auburn University before transferring for her final 3 collegiate years at Louisville, where Belcher was a finalist at the Atlantic Coast Conference Championships in 2015. She was named to the Big East and American Athletic Conference All-Conference Championship teams in 2013 and 2014, respectively. Additionally, she was a recipient of the 2015 Louisville Swimming and Diving Cardinal Spirit Award and was a member of the Athletic Director's Honor Roll from 2012 to 2014. After college, she remained in swimming, coaching at New York University from 2015 to 2022. Erica now works at an investment bank in New York City doing corporate event planning. The Reading High Athletic Hall of Fame welcomes Erica Belcher into its induction class of 2024.
Thank you so much for your kind introduction. That video was incredible. I need to give a huge shout out to my mom for both saving and uncovering all of those years of footage and photos and articles. I know that that was not an easy feat. I feel like I had a front row seat over the last year plus into witnessing just how much thought and effort is put into this event. So Mr. Pierce, Mr. Algieri, Nick Face, and the rest of the committee, please know I'm so appreciative of your time and everything you did to put this together, and I'm honored to have the chance to be a part of it this year. In the process of writing this speech, I realized that swimming is truly such a unique sport. You spend endless hours training for a race that lasts less than a minute in some cases. And once I was able to step away and look back on the entire story, the things I remember most are not the individual times and races and meets. It's definitely more so the hours and hours spent with my teammates, pushing each other and encouraging each other and having fun in the process. And also the vocal cord shredding bus rides every week. It is so valuable to learn at such a young age what it takes to be dedicated to a goal that is bigger than yourself. And I have the RMHS athletic department, my coaches, and each and every teammate to thank for giving me the opportunity to have that experience for 4 years. The team that is being inducted today knows that during the 2010 season, we had total tunnel vision for what we wanted to accomplish that year. And working together every day to make it happen is something that I will never forget. 14 years ago this weekend, we made RMHS women's swimming history. I'm so proud of you ladies, congratulations, and I'm thrilled that we get to do this together today. Margie and Gillis, you never failed to be our guiding light through it all. Thank you so much for creating an environment that myself and all of the ladies could thrive in. It takes a special person to lead a group of teenagers towards such a big goal, and your role in it was invaluable. I want to conclude by thanking my family. This honor is just as much yours as it is mine. Now that I'm sort of an adult and I have an adult job, I can understand what a huge ask it may have been at 13 years old to be driven to swim practice at 4 a.m., 2:30, and like 6 o'clock all in the same day. I don't think I will ever be able to replace all those years of lost sleep, but I am truly so grateful for your dedication and effort and energy and time throughout this journey, and from the bottom of my heart, I cannot thank you enough.
Mind-boggling. So Erica, it's hard to wrap our heads around the enormity of your career and achievements. Truly your dominance, as the Chronicle reporter said, is something unlike we've ever seen. So far the videos are spectacular, the speeches are wonderful, and the audience is great. Give yourselves a round of applause for being such a good audience. Okay. Well, here's something interesting. Tonight's inductees played collectively for 11 Hall of Fame coaches. Some of those coaches are here tonight, as are many other outstanding RMHS coaches. So right now, we would like to recognize all of our Reading High School coaches. So, if you are a past or present coach, head coach, assistant coach, sub-varsity, volunteer, please stand now and receive our appreciation for all you do for young people in Reading. Lucky our student athletes in our town. We must also recognize the superlative leadership of our athletic director, Tom Zaya. Mr. Zaya, along with his coaches, has made RMHS athletics the best in the state. You'll never find a better man of integrity than Tom Zaya. But tonight I want to give special recognition to our friend, Hall of Famer Ted Ricer. Ace, as we affectionately call him, is in his 49th consecutive year of serving our athletic department in many, many different capacities. We want Coach Bryson and his wife Jane, who has also been a valuable contributor, to know that we appreciate them and their dedication from 1976 to 2024. You know, those of us who know Coach Bryson can see that he is still vibrant and youthful and amazing at age 80. And the good news about 80 coaches, you're finally old enough to be president. Alrighty. Hey, I'm like Jim DeBenedictis. You throw them out there, Jim. Some of them work, some of them don't, but you give it a shot. Justine Lyons was a consummate and complete... Go ahead. Justine Lyons was a consummate and complete basketball player who led her teams to 4 years of great success. Justine could pass, rebound, and defend, but most of all, she could put the ball in the hoop. In fact, Justine, at the time of her graduation, was the second leading scorer in school history. She was a 3-time league All-Star, 2-time Daily Times Chronicle Player of the Year, and Middlesex League MVP. Justine had her best performances in the biggest games, which prompted her Hall of Fame coach, Kim Penny, to praise Justine for her leadership, competitive spirit, and cool confidence.
The class of 2005 RMHS graduate Justine Lyons was born to be a basketball player. She loved the game from an early age, and whether it was shooting hoops in her driveway, playing in the 3rd grade rec league, or later AAU, Lyons just loved to play. While attending her future Hall of Fame coach Kim Penny's clinics for younger players, it was obvious she had raw talent, athleticism, and a diverse skill set. Little did everyone know at the time that someday Justine would become one of the most storied and accomplished players in the history of the Reading High School girls basketball program. As a freshman, Justine was called up to be part of the varsity team and put up a total of 50 points for the season. It was a start and a way to get her feet wet. But when she came back for her sophomore campaign, even Penny was amazed at how much Lyons had developed in the offseason. Penny described the change to her in this way. She's improved the quickest I've ever seen in a player, and as much as she's young, she's also a great leader. The 5'9" Lyons would soon become a dominant player both on the boards and as a scorer. That season, Lyons would be a key contributor on an outstanding Reading team. The Rockets soared to an 11-1 start and a ranking of 4th in the Boston Globe girls basketball poll, trailing only undefeated Melrose and traditional powers Andover and Westwood. Melrose had become the power in the Middlesex League, and the two teams were rivals throughout Lyons' career. In fact, Lyons would have some of her best performances in the biggest games, and in 6 games against the Raiders during her final 3 years, she would average 25 points per game. Reading would finish with a 16-4 record and enter the Division II North Tournament, where they progressed to the 2nd round before losing to number 2 seeded Salem. At the conclusion of the season, Lyons, who averaged 13 points per game, would be named a Middlesex League All-Star as a top 10 player in the league. She was also named a co-captain for her junior season, both accomplishments unusual for a sophomore. Reading girls basketball had been on the upswing with 3 straight tournament appearances, and as Lyons entered her junior season, there were lots of new faces with the loss of 9 seniors, including future Hall of Famer Jenny Shoemaker, who had scored the most career points at the time for Reading girls. Lyons broke her finger, requiring surgery in the preseason, but she missed just 3 games and went on to average 21.5 points per game as she led a very young team to an 11-9 record and a spot in the postseason tournament. The team would bow out to number 3 Arlington Catholic in the first round, but postseason honors poured in for Lyons. She was named League All-Star and the Middlesex League's most valuable player, as well as the Daily Times Chronicle Player of the Year. Entering Lyons' senior season, Reading had lost only 1 player to graduation, and optimism was high that perhaps a league title was in the cards. Unfortunately, Melrose stood in the way once again, and the Rockets could not defeat their rivals. But they did end up with a league record of 15-3 and a 16-4 overall finish. Lyons was having another great season, including the evening of February 4th, 2005, when she scored 32 points at home against Watertown to become only the 3rd player in girls basketball history to reach the 1,000-point milestone. Reading hosted Danvers in their first tournament game, and behind a 31-point effort by Lyons, would dispatch the Falcons to set up a matchup at number 2 seeded North Andover. In that game, Reading had the best player on the floor in Lyons, who would score 28 points, but they could not overcome the hot shooting Knights. After the game, the North Andover coach would comment that Justine Lyons is an amazing player. She is all-world. And Penny called Lyons, quote, probably the best basketball player I've ever coached, and definitely the most talented offensive player I've had. In her 4 years at RMHS, the Rockets won over 70% of their games. In her senior year, she scored 480 total points, averaging 21.8 points per game, which put her in the top 10 in scoring for Eastern Massachusetts. She also averaged 10 rebounds per game. Her 1,177 total career points would, at the time, move her into second place in Reading girls basketball history, behind her former teammate Shoemaker. Justine was selected as a Boston Globe and Boston Herald All-Scholastic, was a two-time winner of the Daily Times Chronicle Outstanding Performer for Girls Basketball, a three-time Middlesex League All-Star, and a one-time league MVP. After graduating from RMHS, Lyons would go on to play 4 years of college basketball at Division II St. Anselm, scoring 732 career points, placing her 29th on the school's all-time career points list. In looking back on Justine's career, Coach Penny would write, "Justine is one of Reading's all-time most impressive athletes, a naturally gifted basketball player with an air of cool confidence about her. Justine's strong competitive spirit made an immediate and lasting impact on our program."
Wow, man. Unbelievable.
It is with great pride that we welcome Justine Lyons into the Reading Memorial High School Athletic Hall of Fame, class of 2024.
Hello, everyone. First, let me just say what an honor it is to be here tonight. Thank you to the Reading Memorial Hall of Fame Committee. What an amazing event this is. For those of you who do not know this, Reading is the hub of the universe. Whenever I get the chance to tell people this, I do. So to be inducted into the hub of the world's Hall of Fame reminds me of a Frank Sinatra song lyric. If I can make it there, I'll make it anywhere. But in all seriousness, Reading has a strong tradition of nurturing tremendous athletes, many of whom are here tonight. So to stand amongst them is truly a privilege for me. As a little girl growing up in Reading, I idolized the Lady Rockets basketball program. I thought each player was so impressive, larger than life, and leading the charge was none other than the small but mighty, born and bred and revered, Tufts jumbo phenom, the one and only Kim Penny. Growing up, the Rockets were rock stars to me, and I dreamt of the day when I could become one. As an athlete, and now a parent to a little girl, and hopefully a future Lady Rocket, I know how incredibly fortunate I was for the opportunity to represent such a wonderful town, and to be able to call this special place my home. I want to thank my family. Still to this day, you are my biggest fans, supporters, and best teammates. You never missed a game or an opportunity to rebound for me, shout out Dickie, and have given me the support to thrive both on and off the court. To my high school coaches, Coach Penny and Coach D, thank you for providing me a recipe for success that I've carried with me throughout my basketball career and beyond into my life as a nurse, a teacher, and a friend. To all my teammates, you are the best part of sports. Sue Madden, congrats tonight. And special shout out to Ellen, my best bud and teammate. You were my first in-person idol of the game. To Mr. O'Keefe, thank you for taking the time to making this so special for me and my family. I want to give a special shout out to basketball. You have been the driving force in my life. You have been the vehicle to take me all over the world. You have introduced me to my best friends. You have built life-lasting qualities in me, and all started out by being a Reading Rocket. I will always be proud to say that I was a Rocket. Thank you.
Congratulations, Justine, beautifully done. Jeff Pierce says to feel free to give you some personal perspective. So one of the joys of being a lifelong Reading resident is that I get connections with multiple generations of student athletes and sometimes their families. Justine's grandmother, Gladys Lyons, and my mother, Irene Moscarello, were best of friends and lived on the same street. Therefore, Justine's dad, Dick, and his brothers spent countless hours playing sports with my brothers and me on Van Norden Road. So on behalf of all of us on Van Norden Road, congratulations, Justine. In 1980 and 81, all of New England was enamored by the play of a young star named Larry Bird. But at RMHS in those same years, we were enamored by our own young star, our next inductee Larry Berg. Coach Tom Darren and I first witnessed Larry's talent on the freshman football team, where he was a lightning-fast, elusive running quarterback on his undefeated squad. Then Coach Ted Bryson and I get the privilege of coaching Larry on the diamond, where he became the most electrifying and exciting player I coached in my 35 years. Larry, who was a vocal, enthusiastic leader, earned every individual award possible and led his team to 2 league titles. But what made Larry unique was that every day he did something amazing when hitting, playing shortstop, or running the bases.
On the baseball field, the class of 1981's Larry Berg was a fiery, intense, confident player and superb leader. He played with enthusiasm and joy and was a catalyst both offensively and defensively for his teams. RMHS Hall of Fame baseball coach Pete Moscarello noted that in his 35 years of coaching, Larry was amongst the handful of most skilled 5-tool baseball players he had ever coached. When Larry Berg's family moved to Reading from Portsmouth, New Hampshire for the start of his 8th grade school year, he made an instant impact as one of the top athletes in his class. His first foray into Reading athletics was in the Pop Warner program, where he quickly won the quarterback job and led the team to a championship, which included ending a Ron Hobby-led Woburn team's 18-game winning streak. After a spectacular freshman football season as an elusive running quarterback, he was on target to becoming the future varsity quarterback. And in the winter, he was a standout defensive guard on the varsity basketball team. However, he was driven by his love of baseball, and as injuries piled up with the more physical nature of the other sports, the gifted athlete decided to save his legs and make baseball his #1 priority. To the dismay of his football and basketball coaches, he became a one-sport athlete after his junior year. In the spring of 1980, the highly touted junior burst onto the Reading varsity team and immediately became an all-star caliber shortstop for a Reading team that was ranked #2 going into the Eastern Mass Division I state tournament. It was a special season for the Rockets, as they won their first Middlesex League title in 9 years, and the first of an astounding 14 titles in Coach Moscarello's career. And ironically, the 27-year-old coach was an all-league second baseman for the school's last championship team. On a stacked team that went 19-4 on the season, Berg was slotted 7th in the batting order, but his offensive production was at the level of a top-of-the-order player. He batted .414 with 20 runs scored while knocking in 16 runs. A memorable postseason run for the Rockets included overcoming a 6-run deficit in the final inning to beat ML rival Wakefield 9-8 and outslugging Somerville 19-10 in a game played at Washington Park the day after the Miracle win. The season ended with a 2-1 loss to Milton in the state semifinals, but the postseason performance for Berg, which included 7 hits in 10 official at-bats, put the junior on the radar as one of the elite high school players in the state. At season's end, Berg was named to the Middlesex League All-Star team and chosen as a co-captain for his senior season. Berg's baseball season didn't end after the high school season was over. He starred on Reading's American Legion team, which featured not only Reading's best, but all-star players from surrounding towns. As he entered his senior year, Berg now played the role of a veteran leader, and he easily earned the leadoff batting position in what was to become one of the all-time best performances over a season for a Reading High School baseball player. In an era in which to qualify for the postseason, you had to win 70% of your games, Reading put themselves in an early hole, losing 4 of its first 6 games. But with a 12-2 finish, Reading not only qualified for the tournament, but they tied with Melrose for a piece of the Middlesex League Championship. Berg was at the forefront of the team's in-season turnaround, and for the regular season, he ended up batting .424 with 13 extra base hits and recorded a fielding average of .915, making just 6 errors on 71 opportunities at shortstop. In the first round matchup with Waltham, once again, Berg came up huge in the biggest moments. In an epic performance, he had 3 hits, 2 doubles, 3 RBI, a stolen base, 4 putouts, and 5 assists as the Rockets roared back with 3 runs in the 8th inning to defeat Waltham 5-4. Berg accounted for all of his team's runs, either by scoring himself or knocking in the runs. In his first 4 tournament games as a high school player, he now had 10 hits in 15 official at-bats. After the game, the Waltham coach lamented that, quote, "Berg simply murdered us. He was outstanding, a great player. It seems he made his best plays when he was out of position playing towards second base." The Boston Globe lauded Berg's performance as well, noting, quote, "It is plain and simple. Yesterday at Washington Park, Berg fashioned one of the great individual high school performances this state has seen in 1981. When the Reading Rockets had their back against the wall, it was Berg who just made one awesome game-saving play after another." In the Eastern Mass State semifinal, the season ended with a disappointing 8-5 loss to Medford. But Berg had one more highlight at Reading High School when he led the Middlesex League All-Star team to a win over the Suburban League All-Stars. Appropriately, it was Berg who, after hitting a single, scored the winning run. For his career, Berg batted .414 with 18 extra base hits, 30 RBI, 19 stolen bases, and had an on-base percentage of .538. He only struck out 10 times in 45 games and 174 plate appearances. At season end, the honors started pouring in for Berg. He was named a Middlesex League All-Star for the 2nd time. He was named to the Eastern Mass and New England All-Star team. He was voted the Daily Times Chronicle Player of the Year and named a Boston Globe All-Scholastic, at a time when the Globe only awarded that honor to 15 baseball players in the entire state. After receiving a full scholarship to play baseball at UMass, he was also named to a U.S. National High School touring team. He joined Legion teammate Dennis Livingston of North Reading on a 3-week tour of Scandinavia, where he excelled as the leadoff hitter and played second base for a change. Just 5 games into the tour, the 2 locals were making a name for themselves. Berg batting .470, and Livingston, a future first-round draft pick for the Los Angeles Dodgers, pitching a complete game, 15 strikeout, 3-hitter against a U.S. Collegiate All-Star team. After returning from Europe, Berg ended his days of playing baseball in a Reading uniform, starring for the next 2 summers on the American Legion team. Berg leaves behind a legacy of excellence on the diamond that has been rarely matched in the history of the storied Reading baseball program. And for that distinction, the Reading Athletic Hall of Fame is proud to welcome Larry Berg into its induction class of 2024.
Unfortunately, Larry could not be here tonight as he is at home in Florida recuperating from recent heart surgery. But we're happy to know that he's progressing well. But Larry does have 2 tables filled with families, friends, and teammates here in support. We appreciate you coming for Larry. So I'd like to introduce Larry's brother, Barry Berg, who will accept the award.
Good evening. How's everyone doing? I can tell you a little bit about Larry. We didn't move to Reading until 1976. Prior to that, we lived in Nashua, New Hampshire. Larry was a bat boy when he was 7 years old for my Little League team. I played on a terrible Little League team. Absolutely terrible. We couldn't get 9 kids to come to the game. Well, one day we had 8 kids and Larry was the bat boy, so the other coach said, put Larry in, let him be the player. Larry was the best player on the field, by far. Coach on the other team wanted to know Larry's full name because he wanted to draft him. Other coach wouldn't give it to him. So I have a little note from Larry he sent to me. I'd like to pass this on. Good evening, everyone. While I am at home recuperating from major surgery, I am very blessed. I am deeply honored and humbled to be a recipient of the prestigious Hall of Fame induction. And I'm very grateful for Barry to receive my award. As I reflect on my playing baseball at Reading High School, I am filled with gratitude by the coaches who believed in me, the teammates who supported me, and the fans who the fans who cheered us on. Now we can see. It was here where I learned the value of teamwork and sportsmanship that have guided me throughout my entire life. To my family, who has always been my biggest supporters, especially my dad, Bill. Bill didn't miss a game. No big deal. Bill didn't miss a practice. Bill didn't miss anything. I think the guys would tell you, my dad ever miss a game or a practice? Not one. Never. You guys used to break them on Larry. So, with that being said, my dad helped me with daily talks about my performance. He helped me to continue to improve. My mom, Barbara, and sister Patty were my biggest fans back in 1981. My brother, Bill, and Barry, who always challenged me on the playground. To the current students of the school, I encourage you to pursue your passions with dedication and heart. Believe in yourself, work hard, never give up on your dreams. You never know where your journey may lead you. And in closing, I am totally grateful for this incredible recognition. It's a privilege to be inducted into the Reading Hall of Fame alongside so many remarkable individuals who have left their mark on this school. Thank you for this honor, and thank you for being part of the special moment in my life. Thank you.
Are you guys right here?
Yes, I believe so.
So I understand Larry is joining us via FaceTime or his mom's phone, is that? Is that correct? Yes? Yep. Okay, so a message for Larry. Larry, we all wish you a speedy and complete recovery. We know how much you love to play tennis, so we hope you're back in the court soon, although your doctors may recommend you start back with pickleball first. So those of us who were there during your career, Larry, have such wonderful memories of your mom, your dad, your brothers, your sisters, and Barbara. Your parents were so generous to our players, and your whole family made every day fun and exciting. Your teammates and coaches loved being on the field alongside you. It was awesome to watch you do something spectacular every single day. So we are grateful to know you, Larry, and to know the entire Berg family. Congratulations. I think to win a state title, a team needs to have one or two dominant superstars, but also a complete roster of talented, fierce competitors to provide the essential depth in the big meets. And it helps to have a Hall of Fame coach at the helm, too. The 2010 girls swim team had all that and more as they blew away their competition on the way to their 6th consecutive Middlesex League championship and state title.
By the time the first decade of the new millennium had ended, the Reading High girls swim program was firmly in place as the most dominant program in the Middlesex League. Regular season titles and league meet championships were the norm, but success outside of the local pools was not as frequent. It was not until the fall of 2008 that the Lady Rockets broke through and won a sectional title. but they fell short in going on to claim a state crown the following week. In 2009, when Reading finished third at the North Sectionals and sixth in the state meet, it felt like a down year. So, there was still some unfinished business ahead in that regard. In the fall of 2010, the immediate goal for Coach Lois Margison's team was a 6th straight Middlesex League regular season and league meet title. With 18 returning swimmers, led by 3-time All-Scholastic Erica Belcher, fellow tri-captains Julie Trodden and Jillian Walsh, as well as outstanding underclassmen Olivia Galuggi, Brenna Melanson, Amanda Adriani, Erin Daly, Alyssa Woodman, and Alexa Bosley, the Lady Rockets were indeed the odds-on favorite to roll through the Middlesex League. Reading began the season with easy league wins over Burlington and Wakefield. The Lady Rockets did so with some sparkling times that already qualified some swimmers for the sectionals. Reading won every individual race and displayed its depth, with most of the team's 26 swimmers earning points in the first 2 meets. Freshman Casey Lamb had a fine varsity debut as she won 2 100 breaststroke races, as well as the 200 individual medley against Wakefield. Coach Margison, along with longtime assistant coach Neil Gillis, knew early on this team was special. In the following meet against Winchester, Reading displayed its power from the opening medley relay right down the line. The Lady Rockets took the first 3 places in 5 events and won all but 1 race. Reading lost a non-league meet to Chelmsford, 96-74, with Belcher away on a recruiting trip to the University of Minnesota. The Lady Rockets then lost a nail-biting 87-83 to Acton Boxborough, with Belcher in the lineup. The meet came down to the final relay, but overall, facing that competition would prove beneficial for the team. As Coach Margison said after the Acton meet, "We need to meet the caliber of swimmers that we'll swim against in the sectionals and states more often so that you don't get complacent. And these 2 teams really challenged us and prepared us for the rest of the season." Reading bounced back with a win over Lexington, led by Belcher's 2 wins in the 200 individual medley and 100 breaststroke. Trodden and Adriani won a pair of races in a win over Belmont. Walsh was a double winner in the romp over Woburn. Reading then beat Melrose to set up the Middlesex League title clinch against Stoneham. Reading put the Raps on a 6th straight regular season league title with an 88-67 win over the previously league unbeaten Spartans, who proved to be no match for the Lady Rockets. Stoneham did win 3 individual races, which were the most by a Middlesex League team against Reading that fall. Galuggi led the way for Reading with wins in the 50 freestyle and 100 butterfly. As expected, Reading followed up the league title with another league meet championship. The Lady Rockets breezed to a dominant victory, finishing 90 points ahead of 2nd place finisher Lexington. Belcher won the 200 individual medley and the 100 backstroke. Melanson won the 50 and 100 freestyles, and the team was the winner of all 3 relays. So, Reading began the big meet season in fine fashion, as these meets are the ones this team would really be measured against if it was to be indeed one of the program's all-time bests. 16 Reading swimmers qualified for the sectional and states. The previous high for the program had been 12, so the Lady Rockets were ready. In the North Sectionals, Reading finished 2nd to Andover, as there was no catching the Golden Warriors, who at that time had one of the best programs in the country. Andover torpedoed the field with 367 points, compared to Reading's very commendable 219. Reading finished ahead of both Chelmsford and Acton Boxborough in the sectionals, avenging dual meet losses during the regular season. Belcher won 2 more sectional titles, coming in 1st place in the 200 freestyle and 100 backstroke. Also having strong meets for Reading were Galuggi, who bettered her seed times in both the butterfly and backstroke, where she took 3rd and 4th respectively. Walsh finished 3rd in the breaststroke, knocking 3 seconds off her seed time. The medley relay team finished 2nd, while the 200 and 400 freestyle relay teams came in 3rd. The medley relay team featured Belcher, Lamb, Gallugi, and Melanson, who set a new school record in the event. The 200 freestyle relay team was a combination of Adriani, Daly, Walsh, and Trodden. The 400 team was fielded by Trodden, Melanson, Walsh, and Belcher. Despite a distant second to Andover, Reading was confident heading into the following week's Division II state meet, as Andover was out of that field, competing in Division I. The Lady Rockets did not disappoint. All the whispers of being a big fish in the small Middlesex League pond were silenced as the Lady Rockets climbed the mountaintop and won their first ever state title on Sunday night, November 21st, 2010, at Harvard's Blodgett Pool. It was a Reading tidal wave as it left defending Division II champ Bishop Feehan in its wake, 279 to 241. Reading set the tone early by winning the 200 medley relay, the meet's first event. Belcher, Lamb, Gallugi, and Melanson touched in first place to get the Lady Rockets off to a good start. Reading was only up 2 points, however, after Belcher won the 200 IM. She later won the 100 backstroke in a new meet and school record time. But the Lady Rockets began pulling away thanks to a strong showing in the 50 freestyle. Melanson took third, Daly was fourth, and Woodman was fifth. Sophomore Alexa Bosley picked up key points by finishing eighth, as Reading went up by 29 points and maintained its comfortable lead throughout. To win a state meet, it is all about depth. Individual wins are great, but it was about Reading getting all those top 10 places that really secured this title. Swimmers like Walsh, Adriani, and Trodden joined the likes of Gallugi, Melanson, and Lamb to continuously place in relays and individual events to guide the Lady Rockets. Reading finished off the state title in style with the team of Trodden, Melanson, Walsh, and Belcher winning the night's final event, the 400 freestyle relay. All that was left was the ceremonial dunk of coaches Margison and Gillis into the Harvard pool upon the official announcement of Reading's title, swimming's version of the Gatorade Victory Shower. The 2010 fall season was a great way for an outstanding and deserving senior class, backed by its dedicated 2 longtime coaches, to go out with the Reading girls swim team's first state title. The program continued to build from there in the coming seasons, adding 3 more state crowns. But the first of anything is always extra special. So, it is with great pride that the Reading Memorial High School Athletic Hall of Fame welcomes the 2010 RMHS girls swim team into its 2024 Hall of Fame class.
Good evening. It is an honor to be here tonight representing the 2010 RMHS girls swim team. We'd like to thank the committee and organizers as well as our sponsors for putting on such a great evening. This achievement is a recognition of a program built on a tradition of excellence, dedication, and teamwork. Our senior class saw 4 years of regular season and league meet titles, a statement Division I sectional win in 2008, and culminated our career with the Division II state championship in November of 2010. We are proud to be a part of the small but mighty Reading swimming dynasty and tried year over year to better ourselves. We are fortunate to be led by Lois Marchson and Neil Gillis, who founded and coached the program for years, cultivating the team into a well-oiled machine. They gave us opportunities to shape our own success and sometimes even our own lineups. They made sure we enjoyed ourselves, focused on the journey instead of the outcome, and understood the importance of holding the rope. Every member of our team was valued. Our team wouldn't be here without an incredible pool of talent, and many on our team trained year-round in club programs with a personal drive that took them on to compete at the collegiate level. We would also be remiss not to thank our families for the countless hours they spent in hot, chlorine-scented pools. Our successes, both during and after high school, are a testament to the solid foundation laid in the Reading High School athletic program. And on behalf of everyone involved in our incredible program, thank you. Wow, you really get a sense for what a special, tight-knit team that was. So congratulations to Coach Margson, Coach Gillis, and of course the swimmers, and thank you for the thrills you provided for our school and community. All right, can you tolerate one more attempt at a joke? This will be the last one, I promise. So Halloween was 3 weeks ago, and so many kids and some adults dress up like people they admire or the heroes. That explains why Katie Ledecky, 7-time Olympic gold medal swimmer, dressed up like Erica Belcher. Anything? All right. Our next inductee, Chris Robichaud, was a key player on the 1998 Super Bowl champion football team, but he really made his mark as one of Reading's all-time greatest wrestlers. Chris's remarkable story of hard work, persistence, and self-belief propelled him to become a record-setting RMHS wrestler under the tutelage of Hall of Fame coach Tom Darren. Chris became a Mass State champion, New England Prep School champion, and a collegiate Hall of Famer, all while maintaining academic excellence at every level.
Like many successful high school athletes, RMHS Class of 2000 graduate Chris Robichaud loved and played multiple sports growing up in Reading. Chris played football under Hall of Fame coach Tom Kasperzak and was on the team when they defeated Braintree to win the '98 Super Bowl. He would earn 2 varsity letters in football as a defensive back and special teamer, but it was in wrestling where Chris would eventually become a standout and be recognized as one of the best ever at Reading Memorial High School. When the winter sports season rolled around in late fall of '96, the 14-year-old Robichaud found himself as part of a 19-member freshman class of wrestlers who RMHS Hall of Fame head coach Tom Darren described as the best overall group of freshmen we've ever had. Darren thought as many as 6 would be in his starting lineup that season. Chris made his way into the starting lineup that year somewhat by default, as they needed a body to wrestle in the 119-pound weight class, and Chris could get to that weight. Ready or not, his career was starting. Wrestling is an extremely physical sport that requires strength and endurance among other attributes that make it very difficult for young freshmen to do well, in particular against upperclassmen. While Robichaud worked hard and began to learn that first season, he only managed to win 1 match against 18 losses. Fortunately for Coach Darren and his staff, Chris was not the type to give up, but rather he chose to get better. He improved to 6 wins in his sophomore year and continued his off-season work to get stronger. Darren described Chris as especially dedicated and persistent. While working out in what is today the Tom Darren Wrestling Room, Robichaud would often gaze at the record boards that adorn the wall. The names he focused on most were the ones in red for the 3 state champions. Chris made it his mission to get on that wall, and it drove him. By the time his junior season rolled around, his body was starting to show that the hard work was paying off. He had grown to the 140-pound weight class, which so happens was amongst the most talented at the league and state level. In his junior season, both Chris and the Reading team saw a jump in their success. Robichaud would finish 3rd in the Middlesex League meet and in 4th place in the North Sectionals. When the state meet followed, Chris would gain his highest finish yet at that level, coming in 6th. After the season, Robichaud earned the team's Kevin Kavicki John Sullivan Ironman Award. To achieve this honor, a wrestler had to attend every practice and competition and fully participate in live drills, a feat that not a single Reading wrestler had achieved for the 5 years prior. It was this level of dedication that led to Chris being named one of 3 captains from that group of promising freshmen that had grown up together at RMHS. While wrestling is certainly a team sport, in that every match and a meet helps accumulate points to defeat the opposition, it is also an individual one-on-one matchup that proves who is best at that moment in time. Robichaud once said that, quote, "There is no better feeling than having that hand raised after winning a match." Wrestlers in a particular weight class often have rivals who move along with them year to year, and the best ones stand in the way to get the ultimate goal of being called a state champion. Robichaud had those rivals in Eric Bees from Winchester and Dylan Kahn from Wakefield. They had defeated Chris multiple times in his journey to be the best, and his coach told him, "You have the moves and the knowledge to beat them," but he needed to add strength and stamina. Robichaud was driven and would continue his personal workouts after participating in a full team practice. During that senior season, a stronger Robichaud was relentless, piling up win after win at the 145-pound weight class, and the Rockets had their best season under Darren at 17-5. That was good for a second-place league finish behind Middlesex champ and state powerhouse Winchester. Robichaud would finish 2nd in the league meet, losing to Kahn 6-5. But Robichaud would turn the tables and beat him in the Division II North Sectional Championship, which would even their personal matches at 2 apiece. When the Division II state tournament came around, he easily dispatched Kevin McNeil from Burlington and Derek Tessaccini from Milford with pins. In the semifinals, he would face Bees from Winchester, who he had split 2 matches with during the season. In a very close match, Chris would use a second-period takedown to edge Bees 4-3. Waiting in the finals once again, Wakefield's Kahn. The 5th match between the two would determine a state champion. This time, Chris dominated the match, winning 9-1. The win gave Chris the Reading Wrestling all-time single-season record of 39 wins, breaking the mark of Tim Prudente, a wrestler he admired on his brother's team, and was one of the names he stared at on the record wall. That win gave Reading its first state champion since RMHS Hall of Famer Tim Holmes had done it 19 years earlier. His ultimate goal was met. He made it to the record board, and his name was in red. The team's 6th place finish in Division II made it one of Reading's best teams ever, and it was led by a state champion who had won only 1 match as a freshman. Robichaud went on to win 2 matches in the All-State Finals, where he would finish 4th and be invited to the New England Championships, where he would also place 4th. He would follow that up with a trip to the National High School Senior Wrestling Championship in Pittsburgh, where he would win 1 match before being defeated, ironically, by the 145-pound New England champion. Out of the humbling lessons of that 1-win freshman season, Robichaud became a 4-year letter winner and captain who would go on to win 83 more matches while at RMHS. He was named a Middlesex League All-Star, was a member of the Century Club for academic achievement. Chris would also be named a National High School Coaches Association Academic All-American, an honor that only 65 wrestlers in the nation achieved. Following his graduation from RMHS, Chris went to Northfield Mount Herman School for a prep year. There, he went on to become the New England Prep School champion at 145 pounds. After prep school, Chris would attend Wesleyan University, where he would have a very successful career, serving as a 3-year captain, and he was also inducted into the Wesleyan Wrestling Hall of Fame. Today, he gives back to the Reading program as a member of the coaching staff, working in the same wrestling room where his name still hangs on the wall.
Yeah, Robbie!
It is with great pride that we welcome Chris Robichaud into the Reading Memorial High School Athletic Hall of Fame, Class of 2024.
Thank you to the Hall of Fame Committee for putting on such a great event here. That brought back so many memories. Cons, 5 times I wrestled my senior year, 4 times in the finals, so I'm going to take you back. Thank you guys, everybody for being here. Thank you to the committee for putting on such a professional, detailed event. You can just tell how much effort goes into these, and I've had the privilege to come to a couple of these, and they just never cease to amaze me. So thank you for that. Thank you to Mr. O'Keefe for writing the script to my video there. He was my Little League coach, so I go back a long way with him, so it means a lot to have him involved. Thank you. My parents, first and foremost, they've been so supportive, even from a young age when I was just obsessed with sports. The amount of time they spent taking me to practices, the amount of money they spent taking me to hitting lessons and football camps, basketball camps, and then later wrestling camps. They've just been so supportive, not just in athletics, but everything I do in my life. So I could not have achieved anything in my life without you guys, so thank you. My older brother, Bill, was a huge influence on me. When I was younger, he was 4 years older than me, just someone I looked up to so much. He was captain of the 1995 Super Bowl winning team. You know, I just remember always wanting to hang around with him and his friends. And, you know, he would just kind of let me hang in like the periphery. I just tried not to be too annoying, you know. But he was the guy that really got me into the weight room and got me to that next level and getting my strength up and helping me with my wrestling. And, you know, he was the type of guy, you know, my senior year especially, he would take time coming home as a senior in college to watch his younger brother wrestle in high school tournaments, you know. It just meant a lot to me. It still does, so I appreciate that, Bill. To my coaches, Coach Darren, you know, taught me everything I know about wrestling at Reading. And, you know, Coach Darren's approach was just always hard work, and doing things the right way, and that's just how I tried to do it. And you know, those principles not only led to success for me on the wrestling mat, but in all areas of my life. I appreciate everything you've done for me, Coach Darren, and for Reading Wrestling and for the sport in general. Coach Thomas came in my junior year, and he was just really what the program needed to kind of solidify and get to that next level. The level of dedication they showed to the program, you know, especially in the off season, they drive us down from
Reading down to Virginia to go to a camp for a week. They'd be in a van with us for 10 or 12 hours there and back. I know we drove them crazy, especially that one year when that Venga Boys album came out. And we listened to it the entire ride back, and Darren, I think, almost lost his mind. But again, that's the kind of dedication they had to us as wrestlers and to the program. And that's why we became one of the best wrestling programs in the state for the next, decade. So I appreciate everything you guys you've done for me. Also need to thank Coach Smith, who's unfortunately no longer with us, but Coach Smith was an extremely knowledgeable, technical coach that Coach Darren brought in my freshman year. He really took a liking to me, spent tons of time with me, trying to help me get better and get to that next level. And he's one of the reasons for my success. So rest in peace, Coach Smith. And lastly, just my teammates. Wrestling is a very, very tough sport. Practices are hard. You're at tournaments 10, 12, 14 hours a weekend, and you just go through a lot together. And the guys I had on my team, Dan Conley, Liam O'Connell, Justin Nee, Mike Dunn. Mike Dunn was my drill partner for my last 3 years. And those tournaments, if you're not there with teammates who are winning and you're the last one there, it becomes miserable, and you're like, why am I still here? But I always had teammates there competing with me to the end. We were always in the finals of tournaments together, winning tournaments together. And that's really, I think our class, as Coach had said, our class really helped push that program to the next level, and I was so happy to see it have success for as long as it has. And I'm happy to be back involved with Reading Wrestling now. I've been coaching there the last 2 years. So it's been great to be back involved in a sport I love and a town I love, and a program I love. So I appreciate I appreciate you guys recognizing the work I did, and thank you for your time. Appreciate it.
Having been a close friend with Tom Darren for so many years, I've come to recognize and appreciate how grueling the sport wrestling is, and the sacrifices and hard work all the wrestlers have to do. So congratulations, Chris. You did what very few are willing or able to do. You set the highest of goals for yourself, and you worked so hard for 4 years until you reached the ultimate achievement in your sport. Congratulations. Before we get to our final inductee, let's give special recognition to the people who make this event so memorable. Thank you to the script writers, all over here, all of whom have written for the Daily Times Chronicle and Reading Talk. We are Steve Alfieri, Kara Day-Armendjian, John O'Keefe, Ryan Murphy, and Jeff Pierce. I know they've done it. No show without the script writers. I know they spent countless hours just carefully crafting the words that allow us to really get to know our new Hall of Famers on a personal level. Now, the voice that we hear beautifully narrate the videos belongs to Mike McSweeney. Mike, who is a former student athlete and current English department head at RMHS, does a resplendent job with just the right voice tone, inflection, and rhythm. In the fabulous videos produced and created by the amazingly talented Scott Losinger. Many of us have been to lots of Hall of Fame ceremonies for high school, college, and the like, where we never see anything close to the quality that Scott produces for each of our ceremonies. And of course, thank you to Nick Face for conducting the interviews with the new members and setting up the video production for the ceremony with his usual enthusiasm and professionalism. Thank you to all. Last but not least, you guys have been waiting patiently for this. It's hard to find the words to do justice to describe the 2009 Super Bowl champion football team. We could say they were tough, hardworking, aggressive, versatile, well-coached. Those words don't seem to quite tell the story. Maybe the best words are utterly dominant. Among the history of great Reading football teams, this is the first one to go 13-0, while they outscored their opponents by an average of 26 points per game. With 4 all-scholastic players, 11 league all-stars, and a coaching staff of future Hall of Famers, this team was destined for unprecedented greatness.
Answering what athlete or team is the greatest of all time is subjective and nearly impossible to answer with certainty. But any serious conversation about the greatest Reading High football season must forever include 2009. The 2009 Rockets were dominant to a degree arguably never seen before or since, and their likes will perhaps never be seen again. The 09 Rockets were the first team to go 13-0, scored the most points in school history, and boasted a lineup of players that included 4 All-Scholastics and 11 Middlesex League All-Stars. Reading capped off its perfect season with a 26-0 win over undefeated Natick in the Division II Eastern Mass Super Bowl Championship at Gillette Stadium. No one was going to beat them that season, and no one did. No one was even close. More than just incredible on-the-field results, the 2009 season was tinged with something like destiny, drama checkered with loss, but ultimately a story of incredible triumph. It was a season years in the making. In 2007, a handful of sophomores started on a team that took its lumps and finished 4-7. But those sophomores would be back. In 2008, Reading finished 11-1, rolling undefeated through the regular season before suffering a heartbreaking 2012 loss to Walpole in the first round of the Division II playoffs. Everyone knew that Reading would be the team to beat in 2009. The Rockets returned most of their key starters, including their entire backfield, quarterback Stan Andre and tailbacks Tino Perina and Ryan Pollock. Those 3, along with offensive lineman James Collins, were named team captains. Reading's offensive line of Jeff Kovitz, Andrew Edson, Mike Lopez, Dan Bork, and Collins, along with Matt Connery, boasted 4 first-team All-Middlesex Leaguers. With Perina and Pollock's speed and elusiveness, and the power of the 6'1", 230-pound Andre, no team was able to stop the Rockets' running game. Reading also had outstanding defensive talent, led by linebackers Zach Bates, Stan Andre, and Ross DiMattei, defensive tackle Anthony Federa, and ends Andrew Edson and Jeff Kovitz, and defensive backs Larry Gilligan, Brian Bork, Mark D'Agostino, Pollock, and Perina. Their underrated receiving corps included Nick Scally, Sean Gilday, and Patrick Mahoney, with Brian Kelly at tight end. The coaching staff included head coach John Fiore, defensive coordinator David Blanchard, offensive coordinator Dwayne Sigsbury, and assistants Rob DiLoretto, Adam Briggs, and Eric Hiltz. Before the season began, tragedy struck. Beloved assistant coach Mike Boyd, just 29 years old, passed away after a battle with lung cancer. The Rockets dedicated the season to Boyd, wearing his number 12 game jersey stickers on their helmets and standing on the 12-yard line for the national anthem before every game. On the field, Reading left no doubt. Reading's first 6 games tell the story of that dominance. 35-0 at Cambridge Ringe and Latin, 35-0 at home versus Masconomet, 34-7 at Winchester, 34-7 at Melrose, 48-7 at home versus Wakefield, 42-14 at home versus Malden Catholic. How one-sided were these wins? Cape Ann League champion Masconomet would go on to play in the Division IIA Super Bowl. While Winchester finished second in the Middlesex League, Reading crushed both teams. The Rockets outscored Masco 28-0 at halftime and were up 34-0 on Winchester at the half. It seemed nothing or no one would stop the Rockets, except ill luck. In a 42-7 win over Belmont in Week 7, Perina suffered a torn ACL, essentially ending his season. He was the best player in Eastern Massachusetts. In just 6.5 games, Perina had scored 25 touchdowns and accounted for nearly 1,000 yards rushing and receiving. With Perina out, the ball-carrying duties fell to Pollock and Andre. In Week 8, Pollock showed he was up to the task and then some. In a 48-27 win over Burlington, he ran for a school record 360 yards on 21 carries with 4 touchdowns. Andre didn't have to throw the ball most of the time, but was an accurate passer who threw for more than 900 yards and 7 touchdowns. He also rushed for 1,078 yards and 9 TDs. Pollock finished the season with 1,504 yards rushing and 21 touchdowns, and his 169 points scored set a new single-season record. Perina's 150 points in just 6.5 games was good for 4th all-time. Reading closed out the year with wins over Woburn, Lexington, and Stoneham, with the playoffs looming. Points piled up and up. When the dust settled, Reading finished with 441 points scored versus 101 against, a single-season scoring record that still stands. Andre, Pollock, Perina, Collins, Bork, Lopez, Edson, Kovitz, DiMattei, Bates, and D'Agostino were named Middlesex League All-Stars. Collins and Pollock were named Boston Globe All-Scholastics, while Andre, Pollock, and Perina were named Boston Herald All-Scholastics and joint Daily Times Chronicle Offensive Players of the Year. Fiore was named the DTC Coach of the Year. The Rockets opened the playoffs hosting defending Division 1A Super Bowl champion Dracut, an explosive team averaging 34 points per game. Dracut grabbed an early 6-0 lead in the first quarter, but Reading roared back to win, 20-6. Andre rushed for 124 yards and 2 touchdowns on 26 bruising carries, and threw for a 3rd score. Reading advanced to the Division II Super Bowl to take on undefeated Natick at Gillette Stadium. If Andre was the workhorse versus Dracut, in the Super Bowl, it was Pollock's time to shine. He rushed for 203 yards on 21 carries with 2 touchdowns. Andre added 73 yards on 18 tough carries with a touchdown. Reading's powerful offensive line, coupled with the outside-inside combination of Pollock and Andre, was too much for Natick to contain, and Reading's defense was relentless and opportunistic. The Rockets forced 5 turnovers in the game, including 4 on Yukon-bound Natick quarterback Scott McCummings. Linebacker Ross DiMattei sacked McCummings twice and recovered a fumble, and strong safety Sean Gilday returned an interception for a 41-yard touchdown to help seal the 26-0 shutout. Offense wins games, defense wins championships, and that's always been our philosophy around here, said Fiore. It was a tremendous performance today in the snow at Gillette Stadium. It's just awesome. This is what it's all about. After the Super Bowl, Mike Boyd's number 12 game jersey was placed on display at Patriot Place on the Wall of Champions. To honor a championship season for the ages, the RMHS Athletic Hall of Fame welcomes the 2009 Reading Memorial High School football team.
First off, On behalf of the 2009 Super Bowl champion Rockets, we'd like to thank the Hall of Fame Committee for selecting us for this honor. This amazing night has been talked about time and time again through all of our talented and contributors and inductees that we've had to borne witness to tonight. You know, we wouldn't be here without the work of the town, without the work. Not having the microphone through me, I'm still a little tired. So let me start over. Thank you to the Hall of Fame Committee for all the hard work and dedication and the culture that you build for our athletic program each and every day when our students walk by that Hall of Fame. It's pretty special. Those of you that haven't been in the high school for a while, there is a pavilion in the second floor of the lobby of the field house where our current student athletes and our future student athletes walk by it each and every day on their way to practice. The names and faces, we help them figure out exactly who they are. Some are parents, some are former players, some are even coaches now. But one of the special things we get to do each and every day and year is to talk to our current athletes about, hey, there's some great people up there, great student athletes. What will you do to get your face, your name, your team up there? So we thank you for that, and we thank you for the role you play in continuing this great culture. Next, I guess just a few words about this team. I know it's late in the evening, but there was talent, there was a unifying purpose, and there was a lot of love. Obviously, the video told us our current Hall of Famer, Mike Boyd, passed away in that summer. He lost his life, but he didn't lose his battle, he just ran out of time. And I'm going to butcher the guy's name, but the Edgar Guest poem of Don't Quit was on the back of his funeral mass missalette. And as a tribute to Mike, we hung the sign up in our locker room and then going into the 2009 season with that poem on it and Mike's name, number, and years he played at RMHS. Mike was a Super Bowl champion, and he touched our senior class's lives profoundly when he was their freshman coach, and he touched our juniors and sophomores as an assistant coach. And I think that is really what that collective team bond, what brought that team together, was confronting some real life adversity as a group, and then realizing that they had an opportunity with the many gifts and the many friendships they had already forged to take it to a whole nother level during that season. They separated themselves from their competition. I mean, it was very difficult for them, I know. Everybody had picked them to go 13-0 before we even lifted a weight in January. But I think the edifying experience of pulling together as they grieved was something that we'll never forget and we'll always be proud of them for as their coaches. I'd also like to thank our assistant coaches and our coaching staff for that year. Eric Hiltz, Adam Briggs, Dwayne Sixbury, and Rob DiLoretto, just outstanding men, outstanding leaders, outstanding coaches. And of course, Dave Blanchard is right back there, also our head baseball coach. And he is just a pillar and consistency of driving us towards excellence each and every day. And he is one of the main reasons we're up here right now. So let's have a nice round of applause for that. Lastly, we're eternally grateful for all the support we have tonight. So many of the parents and families have shown up, and that is a special thing about Reading football and Reading athletics in general. And in the words of the great Peter Doherty, it's late, we're tired. Let's go home now. Thank you again. Go Wild.